Hey everybody, Nick here at the top of the podcast, and unfortunately we did have some technical difficulties getting all the audio files from the cloud with this one, with the platform that we use. So about the hour 30-minute mark, we actually lost Dave's audio, unfortunately. So I did my best to splice together the cloud combined track off our MP4 video file that we got from Squadcast and kind of stitch things together. So if you notice a change in audio quality, that would be why. Hopefully it's still very listenable. And happy holidays, happy new year, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate, enjoy this last episode before we get into the new year. So without further ado, here we go.
Here is the latest Higher Summits forecast brought to you by our friends at the Mount Washington Observatory.
Weather above treeline in the White Mountains is often wildly different than at our trailheads. Before you hike, check the Higher Summits forecast at mountwashington.org. Weather observers working at the nonprofit Mount Washington Observatory write this elevation-based forecast every morning and afternoon. Search and rescue teams, avalanche experts, and backcountry guides all rely on the Higher Summits forecast to anticipate weather conditions above treeline. You should too. Go to mountwashington.org or text FORECAST to 603-356-2137.
Hello, listeners. Nick here with your forecast for the weekend of December 20th, 2025. Friday. In the clouds with rain likely and a chance of wintry mix early and snow likely late. Rainfall rates could become moderate to heavy at times. Possible additional snow and ice accumulations of a trace to 2 inches. High rising to the mid-30s, then falling to around 20 by sunset. Wind south shifting west at 75 to 95 miles per hour with gusts up to 120 miles per hour. Decreasing to 50 to 70 miles per hour with gusts up to 80 miles per hour late. Wind chill 5 to 15 above, falling to 0 to 10 below. Friday night. In the clouds with snow. Possible additional snow accumulations of 3 to 6 inches. Low around 0. Wind west shifting northwest at 50 to 70 miles per hour with gusts up to 85 miles per hour. Increasing to 85 to 105 miles per hour with gusts up to 140 miles per hour. Wind chill falling to 35 below to 45 below. And Saturday. Mostly in the clouds, trending towards mostly in the clear under partly cloudy skies. High in the mid-teens. Wind northwest, shifting west at 85 to 105 miles per hour with gusts up to 140 miles per hour early, 60 to 80 miles per hour with gusts up to 95 miles per hour around midday, and 35 to 50 miles per hour late. Wind chill rising to 5 below to 15 below. So stay safe out there. We've got quite the weather system moving through Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. Looks like there's going to be quite a warm-up, likely washing out some of that snow, and then it's going to freeze over rapidly with some snow accumulating on top of it. Up on those higher summits, winds well over the century mark up on Washington, so stay safe. Hopefully you can crush some peaks. And also wanted to mention the winter solstice is at 10:03 a.m. on December 21st, so if you're working on your winter 48 and your winter peaks, be sure to start after that and have fun.
Broadcasting from the Woodpecker Studio in the great Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast, where we discuss all things related to hiking and search and rescue in the White Mountains of New Hampshire and beyond. Here are your hosts, Mike and Nick.
Yeah, Dave, we'll teach you how to record locally some other day. Just be thankful that you have a microphone.
Nice looking mic.
It is. I waxed it.
You waxed it?
Oh, yeah. It makes me talk faster.
Okay. Well, congratulations. So welcome to episode 218 of the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast. So this week we are joined for our year-end episode by our friend and sometimes co-host Dave of Dave Shits in the Woods fame. So welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So Dave will join me and Mr. Nick with a year-end reflection of all the hiking and adventures that we've done this year. So listen up. You might be able to listen to this show and start planning for your 2026 hiking plans by mirroring what we did in 2025. So you'll always be a year behind us. That makes sense, Nick? See, that's what I'm doing.
I suppose so.
We're giving them a guide on what to do.
Yeah, it's one way. It's one way to do it. I don't know if I do everything that I did this year hiking, but
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff wasn't fun, so we'll talk about that. But
Yeah.
Plus, we're going to have some jokes and shenanigans. So, Dave, you're in charge of jokes and shenanigans tonight.
Okay. I'm usually, that's not my wheelhouse, but I'll try.
Okay. Plus, we have local New Hampshire hiking news. We've got a recap of a recent hike on Mount Whaleback. And then Mr. Dave actually went back and scored his other white whale, South Whaleback. So we'll talk about both of those. And then Mr. Nick went on a sunrise hike on Mount Kearsarge. So this is the southern Mount Kearsarge. And then he also did a trip out to Mount Cannon for the December grid. Is Nick gridding now? I feel like he might be gridding.
Nick wanted to figure out some purpose to do it, but yeah, we're loosely gridding.
Yeah, because you threw that out there. He threw that out there on social media.
It was.
He's like, I had to get Canon for December, and I was like, that's grid talk, right?
My sixth month of Canon.
Yes.
Is that like going steady? Is that like, did you give it a pin or did you get down on one knee and propose? Like, when are you officially gridding?
I think it's when you start looking at the spreadsheet a little bit. You're like, well, it's fall's kind of ending, and we had these peaks left, so we're kind of looking what options it's just narrowing down. I don't know if I'm ready to admit to full out gridding yet, but
I feel like
you're amongst friends. Just
okay. I guess I'm gridding, Dave. I'm
there.
gridding.
It is. All right. Nice.
Nick's
Congratulations, Nick. That's great.
Yeah.
Nick is a gritter.
Seasonal and gridding.
All right. Well, we're not worthy, but so we got this, and then all this as we see you later to 2025. We might even have a surprise guest.
Maybe.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have a surprise guest. So I'm Mike,
and I'm Nick.
Let's get started.
Let's get started!
Okay, so we are going to hand it over to our friend Christina from Wild Raven Endurance Coaching. Dave, do you need some endurance coaching, do you think?
Yeah, I really do. That mailbox gets further away every day.
Yes, in many areas. So we'll take it to Christine. So
Hi, I'm Christina from Wild Raven Endurance Coaching. I work with athletes of all levels, from hikers to triathletes, helping you reach your goals with personalized guidance. With years of experience hiking, mountain biking, and trail running across New England, I also have a deep knowledge of the New Hampshire 4,000 footers and the surrounding trails. Whether you're a beginner hiker or a seasoned athlete, I'll guide you towards your goals, reducing injury risk and improving your performance through smart, tailored coaching. Are you looking to transition from hiking to mountain running? I'm here to make that journey easier too. My approach combines strength training, mindfulness, and life balance on and off the trail. Let me help you find more joy in your sport while getting stronger and healthier along the way. Visit www.coaching.christinafulsick.com and start your adventure today.
I'm still coughing, by the way. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I think the cough is the new cut back in thing. We don't need another Buddha loop on the other side.
That's true. So welcome, Dave. So Dave is our show joke writer, And I just like to thank him because he was feeding me jokes at the Full Conditions event, and I didn't give him credit. So, thank you, Dave. And I know that your heart broke when I got that huge pop on the Subaru joke at the beginning of the show.
That was hard. I was like, that was my joke, and you wrote it on a sticky note. It's all good though. It was good. It was just, I'm glad I got a laugh. I'm obviously in this for the money and the fame. So
yes, so I appreciate it. Also, I had a question for Nick. Nick, do you know? Because I've gotten this question from a couple of people, and I don't have an answer to this, so I readily admit I don't know. But the problem is that we're too far along in our friendship for me to actually ask. But the nice thing is we're on the show. Maybe we've brought this up on the show before, but do you know Dave's last name, Nick?
What's weird is I feel like if you asked me like a year and a half ago, like I think I figured it out sometime around October, like last year. I feel like for some reason, like I don't know if we talked or whatever, but I've forgotten. I've since forgotten, but I'm fairly certain there was a period, maybe a month or so, where I did actually know what Dave's actual last name was, but it's gone. It's completely gone into the ether. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I will freely admit.
It is in fact Shits. That is my legal last name. I come from a long family of shits. We're full of shits. We're all full of shits.
Does that mean you're German?
No, that's shites. So how dare you? Don't insult my family name.
So we're in this weird zone. I feel like there was a Seinfeld episode about this. Like, you know how you get to know somebody, but like I've had these friends in college where like you would see these same people over the weekends and you would talk to them and they'd know your name, but then you didn't know their name, but like you knew them too much to actually ask them. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain zone where it's like that.
It's too far gone now.
Yes.
So it's just, hey buddy, hey guy.
Yes.
What's up?
Hey, pal.
So I will give you one hint and one hint only.
Okay.
And if you can figure it out, if they want to do research, you can do whatever you want. The hint is very simple. My last name rhymes perfectly with orange.
Okay. All right. Well,
good luck.
We'll do some research on that.
Okay.
So,
listeners, write in if you have any ideas.
I don't know. I think I've said this on the show before, but maybe not. But like from when me and Mrs. Mike got married, from the time me and Mrs. Mike started dating until the time that we had our first kid, I never really established what I was supposed to call my in-laws. Like, do I go by first name? Do I go by Mr. Mrs. or whatever? And, by the time I got married, I think I went by the first name, but eventually I just switched it over to Nana and Papa once the kids were born. But there was like a long period where I didn't call them anything. I would just be like, hey, you.
Yep. Good to see ya. How you doing? Hey, so happy. Yeah, it's great to be here.
So anyway,
I think my in-laws are it's always been first name because I dated Ashley for quite a while before we were there, and like they were like, oh, just call us like Tony and Lisa. So it was that, but then there's like an awkward between area where like they'll be mom and dad sometime, and I'm like, now they're moving into like Babu and Meme territory where I'll say that if they're like around and like Ryland's around, I say that. So
yeah. So it gets easier when you have the kids. But anyway, we will continue to explore the mystery of Dave's last name. I can't remember Steve eats shit either. I don't know his last name. He's told me like 7 times, and I can't remember.
I know his last name. I remember
you do?
That one. Yeah, I'm not going to say it. But
all right. Yeah, I'm not going to say it either. But anyway, all right. So moving on to the next topic. Dave, is there anything that you want to bring up on the show?
Oh, no. Off the top of my head, there's nothing. I mean, I think based on what we're going to talk about, I think it's a good way to close it out. So,
okay.
I mean, unless we want to play some games later. I mean,
we can play some games.
We could talk about, I don't know, violations and other things like that, if that's what I'm being prompted to do.
Yeah. That was not the smoothest transition.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because I don't know if this kind of... I feel like there's a lot of speculation going on about whether your friend Jay fell into a creek or not. Like, I saw some video evidence. I don't know if we're going to touch on that later, but I'm excited to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But not only did Jay fall into the creek, but Dave also fell into the creek. Sort of fell into the creek.
No.
Almost fell.
Almost, right?
So
I'm almost tall too, but that I'm not, and I won't.
Not only did Jay almost fall into the creek, Jay also almost fell into hypothermia. Jay almost fell into a search and rescue.
A lot of lines. I was put in charge of Jay for a little while there. Well, you've got the epic views, and then when the clouds covered you, we will get into it later. But I'm like, we have to talk about that.
Did Mike
you almost
mention?
made me touch your friend's nipple.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah, things got weird. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So when you sent a picture of you on Whaleback and I saw a picture of Jay, I was like, wow, that was quite a bait and switch. Weren't you guys supposed to do a 52 of the view peak?
We were.
Like, oops, we're like bushwhacking up Whaleback. That's almost the same.
Yeah.
I got to hear all about it, like how Mike sells him so much shit that he's like, yeah, this is not as advertised.
It's just like doing Welch Dickey.
My friend Jay is getting into hiking, and he's decided to do the 52 with the views because he didn't want any challenge. He didn't want to overextend himself, and we overextended. We'll talk about Whaleback in a little while.
Understatement.
First, we need to do a mea culpa, or like I got a call out, and I hate feedback from the listeners, but somebody had posted. I think his name's Mark. Shout out Mark. He's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It didn't bother me at all. So he posted something about episode 216 where we talked about the history of the railways and the railroads in and around the White Mountains. And I think I didn't listen to the episode back, Nick, or Dave, you listened to it. And matter of fact, I explained the whole situation to Dave, and he immediately was like, I know exactly what this is about.
I did.
So
yep.
What would happen?
Well, basically, when you had mentioned that you were on a railroad bed back in wherever you were with family, you walked a railroad line at a certain point, and you would find different parts of the railroad. One of them happened to be an old railroad spike, and you mentioned you just pick them up and put them in your pocket, and you'd make like coat hangers or certain things out of it.
Right.
And my immediate reaction was like, "Oh boy, that's that's going to strike some nerves somewhere." Yeah, and apparently it did. And I mean no disrespect. I'm just saying it was. My immediate reaction was like, "Uh-oh."
Right. So I figured I would just come on and explain that. Like, I actually did not commit a leave no trace violation by doing this. It was a petty larceny, but not a leave no trace. So, which is a misdemeanor. And I also made sure that a child stole the railroad thing and not me, so that it would be, less of a crime. But anyway, I joking around a little bit, but essentially what I was talking about was, we were talking in the context of the old railroads that are in the White Mountains, but what I talked about was like an active rail line. So I live by the Mountain Division Railway, which is in Brownfield, Maine, and it's no longer active, but at the time it was active. It's a hobbyist type of lot of stuff going on up and down there for hobbyists. So a lot of times we would just walk along that line, and there would be random those railroad. What are they called, Dave? They're like the railroad
spikes and railroad. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a spike. So the kids would grab them, and then whatever. A lot of times we would just leave them, but once in a while we'd pick one up. So I've learned my lesson. I don't recommend it, but I do want the listeners to remember, we've talked about this before in the past on different episodes. So with antiquities and relics and stuff like that, like you cannot remove any of those from the White Mountains, and essentially like anything over, I don't know what the limit is on how old they need to be, but there's a regulation that specifies that it's illegal to dig, disturb, damage, or remove historic or archaeological resources, structures, sites, artifacts, or properties. So you got to be careful around that stuff. So essentially, if anything's old and rusty, just leave it be and don't take it, especially remains from old camps, railroad-related artifacts, railroad ties, hardware, etc., and then any building remnants or stone foundations. Just stay away from all that stuff and don't mess with it. But I was making a reference about an active rail line, which still you shouldn't take stuff away from, but it's less bad, I think, and it's not a leave no trace violation. It's more of a petty theft.
You still had to get an attorney, though.
I think the statute of limitations is over on that one. So
I'll raise the question too, devil's advocate, but also it's a legit question. When is it trash? Like if they're just abandoning it and it's neutral property, or it's just, you're at public.
If it has no historical value.
Right. So you could you're outside of White Mountain National Forest and you just see a spike. It's fair game.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Maybe not. My perspective on this was when I was look, I got 6 little kids. My wife and my sister-in-law are like, they got a headache cuz I'm taking the kids around to walk. I got 6 kids and I'm telling them like, "Hey, look for a railroad spike that may be laying on the ground," and it keeps them busy. So, I was trying to be a good dad, but I guess I misspoke.
I would have done the same thing.
Okay. Well, anyway, so that's the explanation, Mark. And then Mark also gave us some good info about Mount Agassiz, Nick, and just clarified a little bit. Like you had mentioned, it was a fire road, and it's actually just it was an established road that they had some kind of a amusement park thing going on up the top of that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I also had a comment from our buddy Forrest basically saying, and I looked this up too for phonetically, I'm not sure where the emphasis, like which syllable is emphasized, but it's actually Mount Agassiz. Okay. You pronounce it.
Oh, really?
So it's not, the IZ isn't pronounced. So I don't know if it's Mount Agassiz or Mount Agassiz, but that's how it's pronounced. So,
okay.
Thanks,
so
Forrest.
the amusement park thing blindsided me. Is that building at the top, was that part of it, or is that, because I went in it before anybody calls the cops on me. It was open. There was no signage. It was just, you could go in, and there's actually a lookout at the top. And I went through it. There's some wild stuff in there, like electromagnetic microscopes and like memos from like 2000. Everything was dated in the same date, the calendars. And it would make sense that it had such bizarre things in there that it might have been amusement park related.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily amusement park, but like definitely an attraction that people would go up. There's and there's also a railway that went up there where there's a picture on the Historical Society for Bethlehem showing it going up and down, but it doesn't look like, it looks like a rail cart, but it doesn't look like it's on tracks. It looks like it may just be like an automobile with a cover over it. So it's, I don't know. It's interesting. I haven't been up there, so
it's a cool place to go.
Yeah.
The view absolutely blew me away. Like I want to get back there for a sunrise or something, because it's just sweeping views from like, it must be, I don't know, the Twin sort of the west, like all the way across to like, you can see like Moosilauke basically. You just have a whole wide vantage point of all those mountains and the notch and stuff. It's gorgeous. And not a lot of effort. Again, like I don't know if it's 600-foot climb or something. It's pretty easy. Small parking area, one detail.
Yeah. Well, I got to get over there and check it out. All right. So Nick was very disappointed at Full Conditions because we had this segment of the show that we were going to do called Would You Rather, and we didn't get to it. So Nick has been insisting that we keep Would You Rather into this last episode. So we're going to do that. And then Nick's a corporate guy, and he wants to also do 2 truths and a lie with a hiking theme, I think, here. So Nick, why don't you take it over and play your little games, and I will go along with it.
Okay. Let's see.
He sounds like he's about to have so much fun.
He sounds begrudging right now.
I know, right?
So I am going to make you got to come up with a Would You Rather for Dave, Mike. That's your assignment.
I do. Okay. I have to do it on the. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Brainstorm. I'll try to give you a little bit. So what we'll do here. So I'll give you what. So I think Stomp had thrown this one out there for, and I don't know if the listeners know, but you get really nervous for live events. Is that correct?
I have anxiety, both social anxiety and crowd anxiety.
So do you get did you not sleep the night before, like kind of and stuff before that? Or are you like that nervous about it? Or is there more just leading up to it that you're sort of?
I've gotten better. Like, I think the first couple of live shows were even worse. But I mean, for work and stuff, I mean, I speak in front of crowds a lot. So, but I do get I get sweaty palms and I stress out. And yeah, I was fine though for this one. But particularly because the lights, I couldn't see anybody in the crowd. So that made it so much better.
All right. So your would you rather prepare for another show like Full Conditions this year? Or would you actually rather go to the dentist for a root canal?
Well,
we'll find out how bad the anxiety is.
I honestly I have never had a root canal, but what I had is the gum grafting. So they take the skin off the roof of your mouth. If I got to go do that, I'm going to do the show every time. But for a root canal, I might go for a root canal over a live show.
Wow.
We'll see.
Okay. Interesting.
Wow.
Yes.
Very interesting.
And then I had one for you, Nick. I actually had, we're going to talk about this. So I wanted to know, would you rather do another winter out and back of the Bonds, which was a beast of a hike, or go for baby number 3? Nick just had baby number 2. So now I'm asking him if he'd rather go for an epic Bonds out and back or have another baby.
So is this like playing roulette with having a baby, or like I know that I'm definitely going to have another baby?
That seems like a loaded question. Like trying to have a baby, or actually having the third one?
That's the clarification.
Well, actually having the baby.
Okay,
yeah, maybe that was
big difference.
Yeah.
At this point, I'd do the winter out and back again of the Bonds in the same conditions, I think.
All right. I have 3 kids. I'm a big advocate for having 3. So maybe wait a little while though.
Right now we're ready. We're in the two camp. I think we're in there for now.
2's good. Hit the Bonds.
Yeah, it's an even number.
Yeah.
And then I got to do one for Dave here.
Be nice.
Let me think about this. Would you, Dave? Would you rather disclose your last name or get hired as the handyman to do work for Mike and Mrs. Mike around the house?
Oh. Stalker versus psycho aspects here. I'm not saying which is which either. I'm just saying I think I'd go with the handyman thing. I know you would pay absolute shit and you would have like complain about the noise and the dust, and you probably like wouldn't even give me crackers for a snack. But I'd still do the work, I think.
Yeah, that sounds good. You'd have to use outside for the bathroom.
I have to bring my own Home Depot bucket, right?
Right.
That's it. Nice.
Excellent. All right. Very good, Nick. That was awesome. Great segment.
Awesome. Glad we got to do that. All right. And this was Dave's idea, fully the 2 truths and a lie thing. So I'm going to let Dave lead off with this one.
Oh, okay.
And do me and Mike just get to guess at the end, which is the lie,
you could try to debate it amongst yourselves,
okay.
I guess, or ask questions,
Okay, maybe we'll debate after we hear all 3.
All right, I'm going to put my poker face on.
Okay.
All right.
I can tell. That's a good poker face.
So what's the rules of this game again?
So it's a very complicated game. It's called 2 truths and a lie.
Yes.
So what's going to happen? There will be 2 truths and a lie. So I will read 3 statements about myself. Yep. 2 of them will be true, and 1 will be a lie. And you will have to figure out which ones are true and which one is the lie.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready. I'm just going to take notes here.
Okay. Number 1.
Same.
I have an MBA. Number 2. I am colorblind and I have a hard time with red and yellow blazes.
Okay.
Number 3. I have never broken a bone. So 2 of those are true, and 1 of them is a fib.
Never broken a bone, huh?
I'm inclined to go with never broken a bone as the lie.
I'm gonna go with. I've been hiking a long time, and I can't tell you the last time I've seen a red blaze anywhere.
Maybe you're colorblind too.
Maybe I am. I'm going to go with colorblind.
You've never seen a red blaze anywhere?
I can't think of where's there a red
boundary
blaze?
Markers are red too.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Remember the red blaze parked in front of on Saturday? Is that what it was?
So, all right. So we both think you have an MBA, so that's good.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So what's the lie?
Are you ready?
Yes.
It is, I am not colorblind.
I figured that. You should have said blue or white instead of red, because that gave it away.
Well, red is one of the colors that's difficult to actually see if you're colorblind. So I did some research to try to make it true, and I guess I blew it.
Okay.
Damn it.
So Mike is 1, Nick is 0. So Nick, you're up next.
All right. So I kept it more hiking related. I ran out of time to try to make it more interesting than that. So I stayed with hiking stuff. But anyways, here we go. So the first time that I summited Cabot with Ash, we didn't actually go to the real summit. The second one is I had a vicious bowel explosion just off the Osseo Trail at the beginning of my Pemi Loop this summer. And the third was I wasn't paying attention and rolled the crap out of my ankle coming down airline trail after trail maintenance and actually hobbled out with 2 trekking poles in the dark one time. So that was a little bit embarrassing. So what do you guys think?
Nick doesn't give off a vibe as a ass explosion type of guy.
Yeah, so as a professional shitter, my radar went off on that one.
Yeah, me too.
That's just but I also feel like if he hurt himself, that would have been a story. He would have shared that experience of hobbling out.
That's true too. I'm going to go with he just doesn't strike me as an ass explosion guy.
And it's a long day too after that kind of blowout. I mean, I think I'm going to call shit on the shit.
Yeah, I'm going with the Pemmy Loop poop.
All right, you guys are both wrong.
Oh, damn it.
So I ate a buffalo sub from Wayne's the night before, which is probably a bad decision when you're waking up at like 2:30 in the morning to go hike that. And yeah, my stomach was barking and I had to go take care of business. So the one that is the lie is the first time Ash and I summited Cabot. We didn't realize it. We actually did realize I was going down the trail and we got at the cabin and I was kind of like, wait, is this one of those ones that has like a weird summit afterwards? And we had to double back and Ash wasn't super happy with me that we had to double back and go past to that spur trail. And we also had to break it out because basically the snowshoe track ended right where that little sign is that points to the Kilkenny Ridge Trail, I think further down. And we had to turn around. So that was interesting.
Well done. I fell for it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's good. I thought, so you should be proud that we don't think that you're a problematic pooper.
I am proud of that. I appreciate you guys thinking that I don't explode like that, but it doesn't happen often, but it happened that day.
Well, now I'm uncomfortable hiking with you. It's very awkward.
Okay.
I don't.
All right. Well, my turn. I don't have anything hiking. Well, maybe I'll do one hiking related one, but I've done this so many times that I have like a little file on my desktop for when I get called into these games when I have to. Oftentimes I get called into like different groups at work and you have to introduce yourself and they'll do these 2 trades. And I have a whole list here. So here's the two truths and a lie. The first one is I've never broken leave no trace ethics. That's my first truth. Okay. Mm-hmm. The next one is that I have been on the front page of the Boston Herald. Okay.
They did have that raid down in Boston.
Yeah. What's another good one here? I'll share a couple of other truths in a minute, but I've been the victim of a bank robbery twice in 1 week. So here's I've never broken leave no trace. I've been on the front page of the Boston Herald, and I've been the victim of a bank robbery twice in 1 week.
Ooh, the bank robbery seems like...
seems suspect.
Like you were in the bank, kind of, like you were in a bank that was robbed, or you were robbed at a bank?
I was in a bank that was robbed twice in 1 week.
Wow.
You didn't say you were in there during the robbery, though.
I'm in there during the robbery.
Oh, you were in there during the
yes.
robbery?
And there was a gun pointed at me during the robbery.
Same.
I also feel like that would have come up.
I feel like the Boston Herald thing is way too specific for you not to be on the front page of the Boston Herald.
Front page, yep.
Though he looks shifty. Now he's giving the shifty look. He's like I don't know. Maybe I was on the Boston Herald. Maybe I wasn't.
All the time. I mean, he is the definition.
There's no way you haven't violated leave no trace.
Oh, no. He is the definition of
I think everybody at some point has.
I'm going to the bank. That doesn't make sense. Because what bank gets robbed twice and you happen to be there?
I think I'll go with the bank as well.
Yeah, you're both wrong. It's the leave no trace. I lied. I feed the Gray Jays.
Yes.
Wow.
Mark, if you're listening, my friend, and I appreciate you listening, please do not comment about the Gray Jays. I don't do it anymore. I've done it before, but
he feeds them railroad spikes and watches them explode.
Yeah, I was an operations manager for a bank in Dorchester, and we got robbed on we got robbed on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Holy crap.
The same 2 guys came back. They get such good customer service. The same 2 guys came back and robbed us again.
I can hear you just go, "Are you shitting me again? Really?"
Well, yeah, one of my coworkers actually literally said that she got up and was like, "You got to be kidding me that they're back."
Wow.
So,
did they ever get caught? Do you know?
So, matter of fact, I got pulled into the lineup, and had to pick them out of a lineup, and I couldn't for the life of me. I mean, I got robbed twice. I couldn't for the life of me pick these guys out of a lineup.
Wow.
So I just had to say, like, I can't tell who they are.
But have you been on the cover of the Boston Herald was?
Yeah. I was on the cover of the Herald when I was a little kid because I got my dog at the MSPCA Jamaica Plain. I think it's Angel Memorial or something like that. So I didn't even know this. We just went in and there was like 3 dogs left, and my dog like jumped up and was basically calling to me. So I said, I'm going to take that dog. So we get a call the next day, and it was the Herald. And unbeknownst to me, they had been running a program to try to get people to adopt all the dogs at the MSPCA in Jamaica Plain. This was the last dog that they had featured that no one had taken. So, of course, I got the shittiest dog that no one wanted. And the reporter for the Herald was like, can I come over and take a couple of pictures because we want to do a interest type of article. So lo and behold, they put me on the front page of the Herald. And it was one of those cool things. I was probably in, 5th or 6th grade. So it was cool to bring it in and show all my classmates and all that. I was like briefly famous for a day.
Is that what's framed behind you? Is that the picture we're looking at?
I have it somewhere. Maybe I'll dig it out. But
I got
a couple of other truths here. So I've been in the studio at KISS 108 with Maddie in the Morning. I sat in on a Maddie in the Morning show, although it was Lenny Clark that was the host. He was filling in. I had to deliver some food there, so they had me sit down and read some plugs for the restaurant I worked at. And then I've also been knighted by George R.R. Martin of Game of Thrones theme. So
really,
he knighted me with a sword and thanked me because I got him Kelly's roast beef food.
Wow, Sir Mike.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I have some good ones for Two Truths and a Lie.
That's very good.
All right. Do we want to get into some New Hampshire stuff?
Sure.
All right. So this first one here, I want to give a shout out to Heidi Murphy. So Heidi Murphy is I don't know what her title is. But she is a law enforcement division or for New Hampshire Fish and Game. I don't know. I guess she was the administrative lieutenant at the headquarters and assistant chief of District 3. So Heidi was often the one that would write up the news reports for search and rescue events. So I would see her name all the time when pulling this together. So shout out to her. She announced her retirement from the law enforcement division after a long career there, and we wish her the best of luck on her next chapter. So great work, and I'm going to miss seeing your name on the search and rescue news reports.
Yes, good work.
Yes.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Yes. Yeah. Dave, how much longer do you have before you retire?
Probably 1,000 years. At this rate, I would like to be done in 15, but we'll see what happens. You know, maybe 12 if I can pull it off. But
yeah, I have 13.
You know?
13, so not too bad. Are you going to hike when you retire? Are you going to do the Appalachian Trail?
Maybe. You know, okay. I might collect stamps or something too. I don't know. We'll see what fast lane I get into. Awesome. I might start line dancing or
doing more metal detecting.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. No, I have no major plans for retirement because I feel like nothing's really. I would still do kind of the same things I do now. I just have more time to do them, just slower.
Yeah, I think I want to get into boating eventually. I want to get a boat.
Start saving up now.
I can yell at people to help me dock. Anyway, Nick, I'll take you and the kids out on the boat.
I just want to. I want to go watch you back up.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Are you gonna have a captain's hat?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I could see that.
He's gonna have the whole white suit.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to imagine. Yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Mike will be lovey.
Permission to come aboard.
Yes. All right.
You can do the champagne bottle on it.
Yes, we can do that. We can do swing the champagne bottle out. So
I'm dying to know what the name's going to be.
That's Just come up with a name for the boat, Dave.
All right, I'm
Let us
on
know
it.
when you figure it out. All right. So Nick, Forrest reached out to us. Shout out to Forrest for joining us, owner of the Mountain Wanderer. He wanted to plug. He's got something cool at his shop that ties into the railroad episode for us.
Yeah, so we were all nerding out about the railroads in the last post. I know Dave knows a ton about the railroads and sort of all these ancient towns and abandoned towns. I guess they're not quite ancient yet. We're not talking
The
ancient Greece.
pyramids.
Yeah, like the pyramids of New Hampshire. So Forrest actually shared, it looks like it's a new product in the shop, and we'll put a link in the show notes, but it's actually this really neat map of all the railroad lines in the White Mountains. So logging era railroads, 1870 to 1948. And pretty cool. If you've got a railroad nerd historian in your life, I think it makes a great Christmas gift or just a gift any time of the year. So check it out. And thanks for sharing that, Forrest.
Yeah, it looks awesome. So we'll include that in the show notes. And then moving on, we've got more New Hampshire news here. This is kind of with the Massachusetts tie-in. High cost of living in Massachusetts is driving people to mass up New Hampshire. Instead of mess up, they're saying mass up. So a recent Suffolk University poll had been conducted where they asked Bay Staters whether or not they've ever considered moving out of the state due to the high cost of living. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the number one destination for Massachusetts residents making a move is New Hampshire. So 1 in 3 Massachusetts residents had indicated that they would be considering moving in the next 12 months. And it's not just Bay State residents, there's also businesses that are bailing. They had said that Analogic and Syncor had both announced they're moving their corporate headquarters from Massachusetts to Salem, New Hampshire. And yeah, I guess the average home price in Massachusetts is about $100,000 higher than in New Hampshire. And we have the 13th highest per capita tax burden in Massachusetts. Well, New Hampshire has the 3rd lowest. In addition to that, electricity cost per kilowatt hour in Massachusetts is much more than in New Hampshire. So, yeah, I guess it's much more cost effective to live in New Hampshire than Massachusetts. So there you go.
I think it's funny that nobody said undecided and they still included it in the poll, even nobody said undecided.
I guess weird. Everyone has a very strong opinion about whether they would move or not.
Yes or no. No, like, I don't know. Could leave, I could not.
Yeah, I think that this whole thing is overhyped. I think people move for reasons other than, I think that people don't necessarily always move for economic reasons. I think that all things being equal, people will sometimes make the decision to say like, well, I can look in New Hampshire and I can save on my income tax or whatever. But a lot of that is some of that becomes a wash when you look at the property taxes that you have to pay. So it's not all straightforward, I don't think. But, I do think ultimately, like if you a high income earner and you move to New Hampshire and you can keep the same salary, then yeah, I think it's a beneficial move to get out of Massachusetts, save yourself 5%, and then maybe it's a wash with property taxes, maybe not.
If you really want to kind of go with that same sort of theory, Mike, of like working in the Northeast, if you move a lot of other states, your buck will go a lot further than it will just moving to New Hampshire. Like say you move to like, I don't know, like Florida or something like that, and you could still work at a Boston company. Like you're going to make out a lot better than just moving to New Hampshire. True.
So I think it's overhyped around, the volume of people that are moving one way or the other. It's not economic. It's usually like lifestyle decisions. But anyway, we will keep an eye on it.
It's not that far of a move either. It's not like they're moving cross country. It's, and Salem pretty much is Massachusetts at this point anyway.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, I'm a mile. I run in the morning. I go over the New Hampshire border a mile from where I live. So it's pretty easy for me to move. But
I'm pretty sure everybody pulling out of Loon Mountain this weekend was a Massachusetts resident.
I guarantee they were, yeah. So, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. But yeah, Massachusetts will continue to mass up New Hampshire, I'm sure. Next up on New Hampshire news here, register for New Hampshire State Park's first day hike. So this is on New Year's Day, you can register for a first hike. You have to register here. There's a website. And essentially what this is that all the state parks, so you got Bear Brook State Park, Monadnock, Pisgah, Silver Lake, Weeks State Park, Wentworth, Coolidge, White Lake, any of these you can sign up for a first day hike. That these are all events where you can register and then show up to hikes. They all run from 12 o'clock until 3 p.m. on New Year's Day. So just either show up and register and you can do your hike, or you can register online and go ahead and enjoy yourself. Instead of doing the New Year's 5K or 10K, you can do the first day hike. Dave, is your family a 5K family, or are you guys more of a sit on the couch type of family?
More of a BK family.
Burger King.
Yeah, not a 5K. It's
yeah. Oh, I get it. Instead of 5K, BK.
It's always funny when I have to explain it. But yeah.
That really adds to the joke.
Yeah, it's I could draw pictures too, but it's an audio show.
I get it now.
Nick, I feel like you're a 5K family.
Yeah, I mean, Ash and me have done a bunch. I don't know if Rylan will get into them eventually. With the amount of energy she has lately, seemingly she could probably run a 5K, but the attention span just isn't there.
Yeah, there's this like trope on social media around families that, like, people that start dating their significant other and then they get to know the families, and it's like, the whole thing is like, oh, I married into a 5K turkey trot family. So there was this viral video that went on like a couple of weeks ago during Thanksgiving, where this lady's engaged to this guy, and the whole family embraces her. They're like, oh, so happy to have you. You're going to be a part of the family, whatever. So they all told her, like, hey, we do a 10K for Thanksgiving. So the girl was like, okay, this is kind of out of my comfort zone, but I'm going to dedicate myself and I'm going to train for the 10K, so that it was a 6 miles. So if you haven't run, then it's a legit challenge. So she's been training, getting ready for it. I don't know for how long, like a month and a half. So the morning of the race shows up, the whole family's wearing family t-shirts that are all matching. She's very excited for the race and everything. And then they go to take a family picture. And then at that point, the entire family, so this is like future sister-in-laws, future mother-in-law, father-in-law, they all are like, we were just kidding. We don't do running.
Oh man.
And she was like devastated. So everybody was essentially saying online that this is a huge red flag. Like, you got to run from that family, that they would prank you like that.
Yeah, that seems kind of odd. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's not nice.
I would have such trust issues with that family for the rest of my life.
They're giving it, like, it gives me the vibe that the fiance is going to be one of those people that like slams the cake in the bride's face. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's such a weird thing to do to somebody. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just seems mean. Like,
yeah, it's not nice. So
have you gotten any of the boyfriends to run 5Ks with you guys yet? Because you guys were a 5K family, right? Or kind of are?
No. We, I've never actually done that. So obviously I got Devin to hike with us, but that's about it. Oh, look, we got a surprise here.
Our surprise guest has arrived.
Breaking news.
Direct from the North Pole, taking a break from the elves.
We have a surprise guest, listeners. If he can get his audio
I think
fixed.
they might be lost in the woods, though.
Yes.
This looks like...
Is this a rescue call by this person?
I think he's in the Blair Witch Project.
Blink twice if you're not okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Stomp briefly jumped in, but his audio and network connection is not going to work for us. This show's a mess, Dave. What is going on?
It's even funnier to watch. I wish you could see it, because he's just like helplessly trying to communicate.
Exactly. Stomp does that thing that my mother does, where when she does FaceTime, she's like way too close with her camera, so all you see is the forehead.
One of Ash's aunts takes pictures like that occasionally, where it's just like it's way too close.
He looks like the Mighty Oz.
Yeah,
he does.
He's like, I've had enough of this.
When he calls him Oz, he's out. Yeah, I don't think it was. Hopefully, we'll see him. I think, or maybe he's actually in trouble and he's trying to tell us.
I couldn't tell if he was. Maybe.
I don't know. He was smiling, so he looked happy.
All right. We got some serious news here. Maybe Stomp will come back. So the 2001 murder of Louis Chaput She was a 51-year-old Canadian that had gone. Oh, wait a minute.
There we go.
There it is.
All right,
Wow.
Stump, just give us 1 second here. We're in the middle of a very important story, and then we're going to jump to you.
Yeah, whatever.
So, Louisa Put. Oh boy, this is the show's already off the rails, Stomp. So anyway, we're talking about Louisa Put, 51-year-old. She was murdered in 2001. New Hampshire State Police is putting out a new alert for people to be on the lookout for her backpack. So she's got a blue backpack that went missing the day that she was murdered, and she went from Pinkham Notch to the Lost Pond Trail and was murdered around the Glen Boulder Trail in and around Pinkham Notch. So get out there. Dave, this is another place we got to get out with the metal detectors to see if we can find something.
Yep.
So I'll put this in the show notes, but we're going to get into Stomp here. So Stomp, what have you been up to?
What's going on?
Nothing much. Do you have any words to the listeners that you want to share with them as an end of the year recap of your life or anything else you want to share?
Just a merry ho, ho, ho. Happy holidays. All that good stuff.
That sums it up.
Yep, that sums it up. What you guys doing? Such a handsome bunch.
Nothing. We're just yes, thank you. Thank you, Stump.
Thanks.
We're having a little bit of a problem with your network connection. We're not really hearing you that well.
What else is new? I ran a little bit later than I wanted to, but I just wanted to say I love you guys dearly. I'm madly in love with all of you, and I miss you all. And I wish I was home, but I couldn't make it, so I just wanted to interrupt your session.
It's all good. I'm glad you were able to talk because we thought it was something like the Blair Witch Project watching you.
Yeah, it was a little concerning.
Glad you're okay.
All is good. I don't want to break your flow, so I'll probably drop out and let you guys talk serious business.
Well, we appreciate you gracing us with your presence.
Yes, thank you,
for
Stomp.
the last show of the year here. Can you believe it? We made it through 2025, Stomp. Can you believe when we started this dumb thing that we would make it this far and this long?
No, not at all. I mean, it's crazy. It's definitely almost 4 years, just about 200, almost two and a half. Crazy. Episodes are flying by. You guys
Dave's
are killing
almost
it.
a full-time employee by now. Yeah, Dave's.
Yeah, I might get a W-2 this year.
You might. Awesome. All right, Stomp. Well, I don't know what your connection is, but it looks like you're from the top of Mount Washington or something. But go fix your
He just
connection.
stumbled
and
out
call
after
us back.
6 Mai Tais. I think that's his connection right now.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm doing my 48. I'm doing my 48 in 7 hours, and I'm halfway through.
All right.
48 Mai Tais.
All right, boys. Kill it.
The other list.
Good to see you. Better to hear you.
All right.
Adios.
Bye, Stomp.
Is he frozen?
I feel like he got in the wrong van.
Yeah, I don't know where he was calling from, but
wish we had
nowhere
this-
with an internet connection.
I wish we had the visual medium for this episode.
Oh my god, it's gold. That's the floating head.
He's back.
We ended the year with a disaster, so I apologize, listeners.
I had one question for you too. On you'd know this, Mike, and probably Dave better than I. But is there a limit to cold cases for when they'll actually call them finally? When it's actually, or does it? It's just because it seems like the police are actively still sort of investigating this, right?
So I don't know what the rules are on the cold cases. Like, there's another one from 1977 that was a murder off of the Kank that I think that they're still. I mean, that they still have listed as active. So I think that they do end them at a certain point, but I don't think we're anywhere close to ending it on Louis Chaput. Matter of fact, the guy that we had talked about in relation to Blood Mountain, who had been arrested in 2007, there on View from the Top, that message board, his name was I think Kevin Hilton. I can't remember the guy's name. It was Hilton, I know that. Somebody had claimed on the View from the Top message board that they were sure that they saw him in Vermont in the early 2000s. And that they had met him. He had sketched them out, and they were pretty sure that it was him with the white van, and I think he has a dog or something. So who knows? I mean, there could be connections. It could be a random murder with Louis Chaput, or it could be that, it's a well-known serial killer that they just haven't fessed up yet. But I don't think that that murder is anywhere close to being shut down. The cold case unit will keep going on it.
Gotcha.
And it looks like cold just equals unsolved.
Okay.
So I don't think they ever you close it when it's resolved.
Yeah, otherwise it just remains
Otherwise
open.
it remains unsolved / cold.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, my guess with Louise Chaput is I do wonder. So it's Lost Pond. So she's in Pinkham. She crosses the street. She goes to Lost Pond. She takes a right on Glen Boulder or Wildcat, and then goes over to Glen Boulder. At that point, if somebody runs into her, I think it was on the Glen Boulder side of the street where she was located. Somebody runs into her, does the deed, stabs her, or whatever. Which way are they going back? Are they going to cross the street again, or are they going to stay in the wood? To me, I'm thinking they're going to stay in the woods and take that Deratissima trail back to Pinkham Notch and then go on their way. If for some reason they decided they wanted to take the backpack, maybe they're looking for money or a souvenir or something, then to me, the most likely scenario is that they toss that backpack. They go a certain distance in from Deratissima Trail, toss that backpack out, and then head on their way, and then they're gone. So I would not be surprised if that pack is sitting there somewhere between Pinkham Notch and Glen Boulder off the Deratissima Trail.
Would they put rocks in it and throw it in water?
Could do that too. That's another good point, actually, Dave. They go back Lost Pond and drop it in the water that way.
Drop it and then go.
You could throw it in at Glen Ellis even.
Glen Ellis too, yeah.
Because it feels like it's somebody who knows the area and is a hiker to do distance and to know where to be and how to get out and not random.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I didn't think about the water angle on that. So, but yeah, I think that
I'll metal detect. I'm not scuba diving.
Yeah. I wouldn't scuba dive in that water anyway. It's freezing cold. So, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe they have they have those underwater drones now that can detect objects. Maybe it's worth checking using some of that technology. Yeah. So, but another article we have here for New Hampshire is we've covered the story a little bit. There was a White Mountain Trail Collective. This was a nonprofit that was created in 2019 with a goal of trying to support the work that the AMC and other trail building or trail maintenance organizations do. So their goal was to raise funds and then to also partner with organizations like the AMC and other trail maintenance orgs to fix and build trail systems. So I guess what ended up happening with this one is Melanie Luce, who was the leader of this group, embezzled, looks like about $200,000 in funds, and she was lined up to go to trial, I think this week, and then decided to just plead guilty. So she stole funds. She misled the group's board of directors about grant funding. This is wild. She had claimed that they had attained a $500,000 grant from a foundation. She took that grant to the board of directors to show them that the funds were coming, and because of her performance, she qualified for a $20,000 performance bonus, and then she later obtained a line of credit in the organization's name to pay even more of her debt. So she defaulted on a $44,000 loan on that line of credit, And eventually, like, the whole thing became unraveled. So she did this all from 2019 to 2021. The crazy thing is, in 2012, she pled guilty to 4 counts of felony theft and misuse of a credit card after stealing $185,000 from a medical practice in Plymouth, where she worked as an office manager. So she basically did this same exact thing 7 years later to this nonprofit trails organization. So I think right now she's going to be sentenced potentially to 2 years in prison and has to pay $193,000 in restitution. So,
ouch.
Yeah. And she was also like, she was doing weird things. Like, she had a web design company that she was billing the nonprofit for. And yeah, she's had a messy financial situation and she was stealing stuff. But yeah, she's going to jail. I guess she was mostly deeply involved in Crawford Path improvements.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where I remember it being a thing about. But it's kind of annoying. Again, it's like they thought they were going to have somebody to take care of that work and have the funds and stuff. And that kind of goes into this whole thing of her stealing money.
Yep. So
thanks.
Anyway, exactly. Just be careful. If you're going to start a nonprofit, just be careful who you hire.
Are you ready for Slasher's Beer Review?
All right, I'm going to skip the national stuff here, Nick, and we got some gear review stuff here. So you want to take it away with that?
Sure. So I think there's one Stomp threw in, but I'll go with this one first. I thought this was pretty cool. I actually saw this through a targeted ad, but there's this thing by this company called Snowfeet, and it's called the Walk Ski, like all one word, WALKSKI. And they're backcountry touring skis, but they actually advertise them as being almost pseudo, like they're much smaller than a normal ski. So I imagine if I don't actually ski, so they wouldn't be super useful to me. But it actually looks like you could use them almost like snowshoes. I would think with the limited sort of length, they give you a lot more mobility. So it seems like you could use them as a viable option to sort of ski uphill if you needed to, maybe in the mountains, and you get a little bit more flotation with the added length, almost like snowshoes. And it almost looks like you could kind of ski down maybe like something like a White Mountain Trail in them. Again, I kind of almost thought they were like sort of this ad thing, and it's kind of a weird, not super well-known product, but it looks like the company's pretty legit. They make all sorts of different hybrid skis for kind of backcountry touring and things like that. So kind of looked interesting. I feel like you don't see people skiing out to trails a lot in the Whites. I know in the Adirondacks, I've seen it quite a bit. I think just because the walk-ins and the walkouts are a little bit longer. It's kind of common to see people sort of cross-country skiing in and then kind of stashing skis and kind of coming back out on them. But kind of neat. I don't know if either of you guys ski too, and whether you've ever thought about like they're almost like the length of like probably even shorter than telemark skis. I mean, they're not super long. Let me see how many inches these are. They're 100 centimeters long. Yeah,
they're very short. And the for a time in the, I don't know, 90s or 2000s, these little short skis were very popular, and you saw kids like hot dogging on the terrain parks with these. So it looks interesting. They're a little bit of they've got a curved front end, so I'm assuming that they can cut up the snow. They do come with an attached skin for uphill that's pretty small. So I think, yeah, it looks pretty cool. They're not cheap. They're $660.
No.
I was just going to say that they're fairly expensive.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that a true backcountry touring setup would be closer to $1,000 or so. I mean, you can get something cheaper for used, but I think that, and the nice thing on these ones is that you don't need ski boots. It doesn't look like you can use your own regular snow boots if you want, or maybe snowboarding boots or whatever you want. So it looks interesting. I'm impressed.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought it was interesting too that it has just snowboard binding. So I'm like, I'm not going to drop that kind of money probably right now on those just to try them out. But if I could rent a pair, I would absolutely do it. But I already have the boots that work for it. So that kind of caught my eye a little bit with the snowboard bindings in there.
It's kind of like the ice skate to rollerblade transition, where it's like a similar style. Like you could almost ice skate in these coming down. They're that small.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, interesting. Keep an eye on it. I would, I don't have the money to drop right now, but maybe once I get through my kids' college tuitions, I can drop some money and I'll test them out, report back to you guys.
That would be great.
Another thing, so Stomp put this in here, catalytic converter shields for cars. This one is for a Toyota Tacoma that I have pulled up here, but they have different models. So if you're afraid that your catalytic converter is going to get stolen, and if you're in New Hampshire, you probably should be afraid because they've had different periods in areas where catalytic converters have been stolen. My understanding is that they can be sold for, there's something valuable inside of them, maybe the metals or something inside of those. So if you're nervous about that, you can purchase a catalytic converter shield to protect from thieves if you are so inclined to want to do that.
Aren't they? They're shielded in a lot of newer cars anyways, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
I believe they have a cover over them, like a heat shield or a shield that hangs down lower on the general exhaust, but it's quick work to get it off to get to the catalytic.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know that there was
stolen them.
Yeah, I'm like, why would you know, Dave?
Twice
two
in the
truths
same day.
and a lie.
Two truths and a lie, Dave.
It wasn't on my list. I didn't leave a trace, did I?
I did not steal 50 catalytic converters in the summer of 22.
Yeah, they had a catalytic converter ring in Freiburg. They busted a guy that was stealing a bunch of them in and around Freiburg, North Conway, Brownfield, that area there. And then I think that there was a ring that they busted in Gorham, New Hampshire as well, that was hitting a lot of the parking lots, Appalachia and in different areas. So it does happen, and it's been quiet this year as far as I can tell, but you just got to be careful. And, if you are really nervous about it, or if you're going to leave your car for an extended amount of time, maybe it's worth it to spend a couple $100 to get a cover on there, at least make their lives a little bit more difficult, and maybe they'll move on to some other car. I think it was the Priuses that were, am I right about that? The Priuses were the ones that were the most desirable at one point.
I wonder why that would be, because they're a hybrid. Like, you would think a bigger blocked engine type would have a bigger exhaust system, but
true. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing it with a Corolla. I'm not sure.
We all know that hiking a mountain can be hard at times. So here's a corny dad joke to help you get over it.
Dave, do you have any dad jokes that you want to share with us?
I thought you said adult jokes. Sorry, no, I don't. No dad jokes.
All right. Oh, I don't have my book within reach, so I think we're going to skip the dad joke. Do you have any
that's
regular
brutal.
jokes?
I didn't think it was going to die like that.
Do you have any just regular jokes that you want to tell?
On the spot, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I mean,
all right, hold on.
There's a long joke, but it's, I'll skip that. No, I'm going to say no at this point.
All right. I bent over and got my book.
Oh, it was so far away. I didn't realize it. So much
effort. I was expecting it was at least on a different floor.
Right?
No. It's just, I had to bend over.
It's like, I can't possibly reach over to get the book right now.
So he's like, I don't have it with me. It's like,
that would be far too much effort.
Well, way to my right-hand side.
I also have a mug that I can scan and get jokes that Julie had given me. So, all right. Why did the toilet paper roll down the hill? To get to the bottom. Get at the bottom, meaning like you wipe your bottom.
Yep.
How did the music? Yeah, I like to explain jokes. How did the music teacher get locked in the classroom?
Something about her keys.
Her keys were inside the piano.
Okay.
Thump. So okay. That was our dad jokes. And then moving on.
What state is known for its small drinks?
I give up.
Minnesota.
That's a good one.
I like that one.
All right. Now Nick is going to do a music minute. I think Mike is going to like this one, Nick.
Okay. I'm glad you like it. So for this music minute, keeping with the Christmas theme, and this will probably be the last Christmas themed album based on our schedule. So
it's Mariah Carey, isn't it?
I wish.
Sorry, I got excited. It's Christmas, Mariah Carey. I thought it was.
Are you guys? This is an aside. This is also. Are you guys Celine Dion Christmas fans? I get into like arguments with my wife's family about this.
Not me. I'm not.
Okay.
No.
All right. I just think she's a very dramatic Christmas singer. I can see Mike. He seems undecided.
I'm trying to think about what she.
She's the one who sings like the Titanic song.
Oh, she does Oh Holy Night. Yeah. No, that's a banger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
In French too.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it. But anyways, we'll go to this album that I do like. So this is Heart Presents A Lovemonger's Christmas, which originally came out in 1998. It's issued by Heart nowadays because the reissue, if you look it up, like if on Apple Music or Spotify or anything like that, but it was originally issued by the Lovemongers, which apparently was a side project just of basically the Wilson sisters of Heart, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if it was a production kind of deal, why they had this separate entity from Heart. But yeah, so it's produced by Ann and Nancy Wilson of Heart. And it's basically their acoustic side project, the Lovemongers, which more or less sounds like Heart, just not as much electric guitar. So think less Barracuda, and a little bit more folky kind of, I don't know, just quiet, more intimate music. This album was like one of the albums that my parents would always play at Christmas a lot. So I do like Heart and stuff. I didn't grow up listening to them a ton, but it's definitely tugs at sort of the nostalgia for me. There's some great original tracks on this, including Here's Christmas and How Beautiful. And then there's a cover of Ave Maria on here that's just fantastically done.
Another Catholic banger. I love it.
Yeah, that's the one. That's when the lighters come out in church.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Not one pew is occupied. Everybody's up on that one.
It's done very well. I think original Christmas albums can be really hit or miss. Another one that comes to mind, I don't even know the name of it, but Jethro Tull does one that's actually not too bad of an original Christmas album. Some original Christmas albums are absolutely god awful and never should have ever been released to the public, nor even perhaps recorded. There should have been someone that stepped in to be like, hey, we shouldn't do this just because you're that popular. Doesn't mean you need to write original Christmas music. But I think the Wilson sisters, I think Heart, they did a great job with this one. So if you're looking for something new to listen to with some Christmas covers on it and some traditional music as well as some new stuff, I recommend checking this one out.
Nick, you should do a music minute just on Catholic bangers.
Just on Catholic bangers.
Yes.
So like traditional. I actually like traditional.
I like traditional
Christmas music a lot.
That though. Don't Google it that way because
oh my lord, Dave, it just went to another place.
I'm just saying I wouldn't.
I know
because I would use Spotify. Is what I was gonna say. I don't know. What
you want to stay in a music app if you're going to.
Conclusions you guys jump to, but
so it's funny. I have a book of Christmas music. I finally got a book because I used to just print out like sheet music or just chord charts and stuff, but I'll play Christmas music usually over like my in-laws' house on Christmas Eve, and then I'll play it at my aunt's house on New Year's Eve. And there are a lot of Christmas songs that I do enjoy singing, like Oh Holy Night and like Green Sleeves and things like that. There's a lot that I don't, but I have to say, like on the whole, I do like a lot of those old Catholic bangers. I don't know if it's just because I grew up in churches and stuff a little bit, but I think some of the music's beautiful. Some of it's just like not great at all, and I could do entirely without it.
I mean, On Eagle's Wing, Taste and See, like unbelievable.
It gets a little preachy, but yeah, I mean, you get the right hook, and I'm there.
Oh my God, I love it.
know?
I love it. I go through that. Sometimes I go through those stages. So anyway, but it just reminds me of growing up. I'm not a big church goer. I go once a year. I go more than once a year. I go up north a little bit, but I'm thinking about going to church for Christmas Eve, so I'm getting ready for the Catholic bangers.
Ooh. I want to get some video of that. You screaming out some "Oh Holy Night."
Yeah.
Starting the wave. All right, let's do this.
All right.
Hosanna.
I mean, I am always impressed with people with talent like that. Like, you could do that. That must be so great at Christmas. Like, you can just bust out the guitar and sing. And it's like,
yeah, it's fun. I try to get people to sing along, like Jingle Bells and stuff. There's also way more verses to a lot of those songs than you ever thought. Like Jingle Bells has like 6 verses or something, and like by like verse 4,
right?
Yeah, they get kind of like, I think there's ones about being intoxicated and such. But yeah, they get kind of strange. But
Dave, do you have a favorite Christmas song?
Off the top of my head, I don't. I mean, a little drummer boy, like a couple of those songs, and I can't remember the name of it, but about the 3 ships. Maybe it's called 3 ships.
Oh, I saw 3 ships.
I saw 3 ships.
That one.
Yeah,
or if it's Christmas morning, I don't know.
Sting did that. Sting did it like one of those. Yeah. It was really good. It's a very special Christmas favorite. It was Blues Traveler. Does a couple of them. That's such a great album.
We're listening to that this weekend. It's an extended music minute, I guess, a little bit. But so, do you know that there's 2 more volumes of those?
Really?
Yeah.
Are they as good?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
No, the Smashing Pumpkins have one on Volume 3, and it's not great. But yeah.
I've been listening to Someday at Christmas by Stevie Wonder. I don't know. That one's vibing with me right now. It's a good song. So.
I can bang out a mean hot cross buns on my recorder. I still remember that from the day. That's my thing, but where it ends.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to move on from music and we're going to talk about stickers. So get your free stickers at Ski Fanatics or Spinners. And then if you want to, and Spinners is in Andover, Mass. If you want to get Slasher swag for your Christmas gifts, you can go check out our bonfire shop. It's in our show notes, the link, and it's on our website. Choose between our super popular hoodies, classic or V-neck tees, and more. The color selection is great, and they are priced to move. Help spread the word about Slasher and represent today. And then if you want to give us a donation for coffee to pay for Mr. Dave Shits in the Woods' brand new microphone that he's using, then you can check out Slasher's Buy Me a Coffee site. Donations help us pay for web hosting, distribution, and live events. And you can also consider being a monthly supporter. Just tick a small box, and then you'll never be able to cancel, and we'll get money every month from you.
The music club.
You're really selling that, Mike.
Yes.
It is Christmas, though, people.
Once you check that box, it's impossible to cancel.
You can almost feel the ratings go down.
There's a really good 1-800 number you have to call.
Yes, exactly. So this is the part of the show where we talk about what beer we're drinking. I'm still in the wagon, folks.
You skipped one, too. You can also buy one-of-a-kind railroad spike relics from Mike's Spikes. All 100% of those proceeds, all from famous logging roads throughout the Pemmy Wilderness and all over the great state of New Hampshire. Order today.
Donations go directly to the Leave No Trace organization.
Cash only.
Yeah. So, but seriously, don't steal relics. That was a mistake, and I apologize.
And we do appreciate those of you that are Slasher centers in all seriousness. Thank you.
Nice damage control. Sorry, I was just trying. That's why I didn't do the dad joke. See?
I like Mike's Spikes, though. That's a great.
See?
Yes. That's excellent.
Hey, hold my beer. It's time to find out what Mike and Stomp are drinking. On this week's Beer Talk.
All right, so anybody drinking beer tonight? Anything you want to share with us?
I'm drinking a High Lim, the OG unfiltered hard cider. They're out of Plymouth, Mass. High Lim is the brewer. Would you call him a brewer? A presser? Cider makerer? I don't know what they are.
But ciderer?
Ciderer? Yeah, them.
A cidery? A cidery.
Ciderist.
A hard ciderist.
A ciderista? Cool. Is that who serves it? I don't know. Anyhow, it's called High Lim is the brand. They are the maker, and it's called the OG. It's on the sweeter side. Very good.
Very tasty. I've got a Guinness just from Ireland. So always a good standby. Though it's probably brewed in... I don't know if all of it's brewed in Ireland or if they actually have breweries over here.
Not sure. Brewed in China now.
Oh.
Is it Etsy? Is it a Guinness? Is it spelled correctly in the can? Is it?
Yeah. Why is it GWYN? Yeah, no, that's my stand-in for tonight. I've got a couple in the fridge. My Ash likes to drink those occasionally, so
great Guinness weather.
Yes. Yep. So going with the tradition. So.
I knew we should have gone left back there.
Stomp, don't worry. I know it's this way. I've got a feeling in my gut.
Are you sure you're not about to have a bowel emergency?
Totally. We got this.
But I just blew out my hip. Fell down that gully with my 40-year-old microspikes.
Suck it up, Stomp. It's 4 p.m. We're at 3,500 feet. We got 9 miles back to the parking lot. Your leg may be broken. We got no cell connection, and we can't feel our fingers. But we're finishing all of my list tonight. By the way, I need some water. I'm empty.
I would if I could see what I'm doing, but my headlamp batteries are dead.
You gotta be kidding me. What a chump. This is the last time I hike with you.
Whatever, mister. Do you know me? I have a podcast.
Whatever.
Let's find out what Mike and Stomp have been hiking.
All right, now's the part of the show where we talk about recent hikes. So I thought that we could start off with our little adventure on the Whaleback Mountain. We can talk about whether anybody fell into the creek or not. This was a hike that myself, Dave, and Stomp and my friend Jay went on. So Whaleback Mountain is located off of Route 16 in Lincoln, New Hampshire. In order to get there, you have to enter the Clearbrook condominiums, and there's limited parking there, and you have to be respectful of the residents. I don't even know if we were I don't even know what the rules are, Dave. We might have been leaving a no trace violation by parking there, but there's a couple of spots that are just open for visitor parking, and then it's right by where the trail system starts, right?
Correct. There's multiple points to go in, but yes, we chose that one, which is a good one in my opinion.
Yeah, one of the neighbors was outside, saw us walking up, and did not call the police. So I think you're okay as long as you don't look too creepy. Which Dave usually looks
debatable.
creepy. So
I was going to say I would argue that theory based on the four of us that came out, but
that's true.
I think the New Hampshire plates, they were scared of us.
Right, that's true.
We're locals.
But this is the entryway to this it's technically a bushwhack, but there is a trail system back there that is an abandoned trail system called the Old Osseo Trail, which runs up over Whaleback Mountain. And then cuts over to the new Osseo Trail, which then brings you about 500 feet below Flume, and maybe about, I don't know where that entry point is, but it's probably maybe a half a mile or a quarter mile away from the summit of Mount Flume. We did not go that far. We did out and back to Whaleback Summit and then came back down. The hike overall is about 2,700 feet of climbing, and it starts off probably, I think the first mile and a quarter or so, it's generally a flat on an old rail trail system, and brings you through a bog area, and then from there it starts a pretty steep climb. Is that a good description, Dave?
Yeah, very accurate, I'd say. Yeah, it's pretty much a constant, just a railroad bed kind of climb, and then the full grind.
Yeah, pretty easy to keep on trail. Even though it is a bushwhack, there's blazes that are still visible that you can follow. I would say in some points it's even overblazed, and then the trail is pretty obvious. I would say
heavily blazed and very well maintained, considering some of the big trees that were cut.
Yeah, that's true.
Does the Old Osseo Trail follow that rail bed, or did you guys just hop on that and then cut over to the Old Osseo Trail?
It follows it.
Okay.
Because it's blazed all the way.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So right from you guys entering the woods, you pretty much are on blazed.
Yes. And
wow.
You can jump in on different spots and pick it up throughout the condominium. There's places where you can come in to avoid the water crossings, and others where you have more water crossings, depending where you park.
Okay.
Yeah, and we picked the route with the most water crossings possible. So
only the most dangerous and fastest moving.
Yes, exactly. We did maximum danger. So we were with my friend Jay, who is a new winter hiker. So it was kind of interesting. Dave, I don't know what your perspective was, but it was interesting seeing the hike through his eyes and sort of watching him learn about winter hiking. So he's been on like a couple of winter hikes, but he hasn't really used snowshoes, so that was new to him. He's got a lot of gear. I think he probably overpacked on the weight. And then a couple of interesting things. So he did get tired at one point, sat right down in the snow, and I had to, I got my sleep pad outs for him to sit on, and he could tell the difference on that. But it was, and some of the gear choices he had with a fleece jacket that was kind of heavy, I had to help him swap out of some things. So it was kind of an interesting day to just see the hike through his eyes, Dave. I know, and we kind of, we had a good time, and I think he ultimately was fine. He just had to rest a little bit more than I think he probably wanted to, but we made it up, and then we made the right call to go back down. I think that we didn't want to continue on and do a longer hike given the conditions. But I don't know, Dave, what your perspective was on hiking with a newer hiker. It's probably new. I'm assuming you haven't had a newer hiker with you in a long time.
I generally don't hike with a lot of people in general.
Right.
So it was humbling, and I don't know what the right words are. We've all been Jay. And that's what I told him at one point. I'm like, Jay, if you think we have not been where you are, you're insane. Because we still have those moments too, where we forget something or we just don't know our gear, or we trying something new. So yeah, it was kind of you feel good about your choices by watching him struggle. I hate to say it that way.
Yeah.
To see how you have figured out your own stuff and how you're more comfortable in winter. And to watch him kind of make the decisions in your mind, you're like, I shouldn't do that. He shouldn't do it. Because at one point he sat down and you were like, he shouldn't do that. I'm like, well, I know, go tell him. Like, get out of the snow. Yeah. And he's like, right. So it's definitely, you kind of take for granted the learning curve that you've been through. And then it puts it in perspective when you watch somebody who's newer to it to be like, oh, wow, I remember all that.
Yeah, exactly. And then like the hypothermia prevention too was, it was interesting to be able to put that into practice to say like, hey, you got to use the sit pad when you're sitting down. And then there was a certain point where I just gave him my hot chocolate, my whole thermos, and he finished that. And that was sort of like a reset button for him. And I don't think people really I think people sleep on the hot liquid when they're hiking, but we all bring it with us. And I've used it more than once in the past. So I really encourage people that are winter hiking or starting off winter hiking. It's a little bit of extra weight, but like that thermos with the hot liquid, it can be like enormously beneficial if people are in trouble.
No question. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was just going to say, and I'm assuming you guys were breaking trail the entire time to some degree, or with snowshoes on pretty much? Because it's a bushwhack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's a wide enough trail that he didn't have to you're walking consistently. You have a constant gait. You're not stopping, stepping over things. It's pretty well maintained. He was in the back, so he was picking up tracked, but he had never used snowshoes before.
Yeah, which is the whole thing.
Right. And you're on a steep slope and you're trying to explain how to dig with your toe and not slide. And he's, the cardio's catching up with him, causing him to sweat. Then when we stop and he rests, he's starting to get cold. And then he's tired, then he's moving. And it was like a process. And when we got to that point near the cone is a beast.
This is a super, super steep hike, by the way.
Yeah,
when you get to the final, probably 800 feet, I mean, it reminded me of the steepness of the Brutus Bushwhack. It was kind of like similar to that.
Oh, okay.
I felt like
it is without the ability to navigate is easy. You're scrambling, you're holding branches, you're pulling yourself up. Yeah. There's big open holes between the roots. If you go while he was resting, Stomp shot off in one direction thinking he was on the trail to full cliffs and ledge trying to go up. And we were like, well, do we turn around? What's going to happen in that? And we decided Stomp and I would we found where the trail went. We would continue on, tap the summit and catch up with Mike and Jay on their way down. They were going to turn back. And as we were up there, we heard him yell out the Goonies, hey, you guys. And we're like, holy shit. He found his legs and the hot chocolate, the gloves, drying him out, having a minute on the pad. He was like a new person and up he came. And
so I'm looking at a map. So you guys went up to Whaleback, but it looks like further on. I think you might have even mentioned this in the text chain. But is it Osseo Peak is sort of that height of land a little bit further up, or what's the destination that you guys were thinking of going to? And you
we were going to go to Osseo Trail and then come down that.
Oh,
and
to the Osseo Trail from Flume. We were going to do a traverse.
Got you. I'm looking at the Lincoln Woods.
Got you. Okay.
But Stomp recommended we bail on it just because it's another mile to get to the trail.
Yeah, it's not close.
Easier to just to go down with Jay and finish the day like having a good vibe versus like doing another 6 or 7 miles out via the Osseo Trail, dealing with the ladders and then the march out to Lincoln Woods. So we just decided to just turn around. But there are a couple of viewpoints. So I think there's like 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 viewpoints, and Dave actually went out to one that wasn't as obvious, which came out to like amazing views of out to the presidentials and the northern summits, which was awesome. But the peaks, like little quick views, it's nothing easy to get to. But the skies did open up when we got up there, so we were able to see that clearing, which sometimes is more enjoyable or interesting than just a bluebird day. We were watching like everything just open up for us.
That's cool. Yeah, the pictures look gorgeous that you guys sent over.
Yeah, and then we bypassed there. There's a couple of 500 higher. So there's Whaleback Mountain. Then there is South Whaleback, which is a subsidiary peak, and then you've got Big Coolidge Mountain, which we did not go near. and Dave was like salivating about how close we were to South Whaleback, which is really, I think it's about a 200, maybe 300 foot climb from one of the switchbacks. But given that we wanted to get down, we bypassed that, and then Dave, being the maniac that he is, went back up there the next day and got it.
Yeah, it's not the thing about bushwhacking in 500 when you chase them is if you know you have a parking spot and you don't have to dig it out, and you know the trail is packed out, you try to get them when you can. And having both of those, I was like, I'm all over this. Like, it just made sense to go back.
Yeah. Did you grab Coolidge too?
No. Coolidge is a beast. I mean, that is a monster in itself. That'll be a full day excursion. Yep. I'll do that hopefully in the next month or so, because if the snowpack stays low enough. But that thing's a monster. It's got a couple of slides, and getting to the ridge is the trick on that one. Yeah,
there's no. I mean, it looks like what you can do is go up all the way up to, I don't know, 2,400 feet, and then hook over. But there's no obvious, like, it's all cliff.
Oh, for Coolidge, yeah. And there's a lot of ledge and just sheer cliff where that slide is. A lot of people aim for the coal. You can try to split the ledges up the coal. I would probably stay more towards the southern end of it, and kind of get up that ridge and take that pud and just get over it. The issue with that is you're probably going to encounter a ton of blowdown at the top of that mountain.
True.
Interesting. So it's funny. I've always thought, look, when you're in Lincoln on like Route 3 like that, the peak you're looking out sort of towards is actually Whaleback, but there's actually Big Coolidge. Now that I'm looking at a picture I have, and then looking at all trails in the map.
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. Big Coolidge is like the double humped monster, and then was it Potash Knob is the other one that's really spiky looking. It's very rounded. And it's very steep. That's the one that's kind of at the base of South Whaleback. So South Whaleback is kind of pushed back. And Whaleback, from South Whaleback, you actually get a little peekaboo of Whaleback Mountain, and it's like to see the ledge. We had that one lookout where we went out, and you're on like a big slide. You can see all that from South Whaleback, and you realize how kind of ominous that cone was.
Yeah.
It looked like one of the whole switchbacks just crosses it. It's all shaded.
Yeah, it's
like rugged. One of the big ones that you do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you can look right down in a link, and you get some good views, and you can see Moon behind you. So for frequent listeners, Whaleback Mountain will be familiar because it's tied to I guess it's a resolved case, but it's a disputed resolved case. So there was an incident in, I think it was 2003, of a 10-year-old boy that went missing from the Clearbrook condominiums. His name was Patrick McCarthy, and it triggered, like, I don't know how many days it was. It was like maybe a 2 or 3 day search, massive search, 500 people in and around that whole area, which, Dave, I can't imagine like 500 people crawling around that area. Must have been chaos.
That blew my mind. I think it was 5, even was it the time Governor Benson was the governor at the time? Yeah. I think his wife was part of that search party too. It attracted a ton of attention, helicopters, the whole everything. And yeah, you're right. It's a narrow little area in the sense that you have Coolidge on one side and then the slopes of Whaleback on the other. You kind of forced into to put 500 people in there. That's tight.
Yeah, it happened October 13th of 2003 on Columbus Day weekend. Patrick McCarthy was 10 years old, born Massachusetts, which I feel like that's down in your neck of the woods, Nick. I don't know.
What town?
Born, Massachusetts.
That's down the Cape.
Born's
right?
Cape.
Oh, it's the Cape. Okay. Yeah.
First town on the Cape, really.
Yeah.
Proper.
So they were up in Clearbrook, and I don't know what they were doing, if they were skiing or what the deal was, but he was reported missing on October 13th. Search was triggered almost immediately with dogs, and they used thermal imaging equipment later the afternoon and continued through the night. It was like probably, I think, low 40s. The rain came in at some point over the search period. So it was kind of hypothermia weather, but not like, it was kind of on the edge of it. It was an intensive effort that went on for 4 days under the direction of New Hampshire Fish and Game. They utilized Army National Guard and New England Canine. And like I said, there was 500 volunteers from across New England turned out to help with line searches through the woods. The search area spanned from Lincoln Woods to the east to Lower Franconia Notch on the west, and the weather included rain, wind, and nighttime temperatures in the 30s and 40s. By Friday afternoon, a team of experienced searchers found Patrick's body in thick growth at elevation of over 2,400 feet, high in the valley of Clearbrook between Whaleback and Big Coolidge Mountain. So about 1,200 feet of elevation. Back in the day, I used to think it was completely impossible that. So you've got a 10-year-old that is at 1,200 feet of elevation gain. That means that they climbed 1,200 feet total through relatively, like there's that bog area that stays, it's relatively steady up to 1,800 feet, but steep climbing for at least, I guess, 600 to 700 feet of climbing, Dave. So I don't know. We talked about this before. So I'll get into like the whole reason why even though basically what the medical examiner determined is that he died of hypothermia and that there's nothing suspicious about it, but that's in dispute by the family, and I'll get into that in a minute. But the idea that a 10-year-old would be able to climb up into this area, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. Originally, I completely discounted it and said it's not likely. Now I'm a little less sure after being in the area. I think it's possible, but I don't know how likely it is.
The only reason I would say it still seems extremely unlikely to me is I read it as he's like 1,200, 1,400 feet of gain. But the hobble bush that is in that area that we didn't experience because we had winter-like conditions, and I think I'd pointed out a couple of times how thick it was.
Yep.
I feel like it would have forced him on that trail because you go left or right either way. That hobble bush to us is, maybe hip high, maybe chest high. It's in his face. Like I don't see him navigating through it. And the whole pretense, and I don't know if you're going to get into the pretense of why he was there or why
I'll get into that.
Okay, I'll hold off on that. None of it made sense to me why he would be going in that direction, fight through that kind of hobble bush, keep climbing, and then find the steeper part of it. Like that part of my brain as a middle-aged lazy guy, sometimes I'm like, I'd rather go this way. It's easier. You're downhill.
Right. So it is interesting. So the backstory on this whole story is a mess. So you've got so Patrick is the biological son of, I think the father's name is Stephen Patrick. Stephen was married to his second wife, who has two sons of her own. So Patrick is the biological son of the father, and then he's got two stepbrothers that are tied to the stepmother. It's kind of a weird family situation. Like his biological mother does not have custody of him. The biological father had custody at the time. The biological mother worked at the same place as the biological father and the new wife. The ages of the three brothers or stepbrothers was 12. Patrick was 10, and then the younger stepbrother was 7. The three boys were out playing by the Clearbrook condos. They were getting ready to head out. The stepmother had gone and was doing laundry in downtown Lincoln to just get their laundry done before they headed out. The father was cleaning up the condo. The kids asked permission to say, can we go play outside? They were playing in the woods across the street from the condo. They came back. The father basically said, check in every 15, 20 minutes. They came back the first time, checked in, everything was fine. Second time, they didn't come back. The father was looking for them. Went across the street, ran into the two stepbrothers, was looking for Patrick. They didn't know where he went. And then immediately they within an hour or so, some of the neighbors had helped out, but they couldn't find him. So they contacted the police. The older stepbrother, the 12-year-old, gave conflicting stories to different police officers that were asking him questions. Ultimately, it came out that the boys were fighting, that the older brother did lean on, was sitting on top of him and threatening him. There had been some prior history of the 12-year-old making threats to Patrick. Patrick was known as a quiet, kind of meek kid who was not as assertive as the older stepbrother. So, as the story goes, there's an article in the, it was actually a 2-part article, two series in the Cape Cod Times that this was in 2009. That had given a little bit more background on this whole family. It's a messy situation. After the incident happened, Patrick goes missing. Eventually he's found. There's a private investigator that gets involved. The biological father breaks up with the stepmother. The stepmother and the two boys, almost immediately after this happened, moved back to Ohio, which is where they were from originally. the biological father is now sort of siding with the biological mother's family, saying that there's more to this story. And the reason they're saying this is because the way Patrick was found at the scene, he was not curled up like you would assume somebody would be in a fetal position. He was sort of face down straight when they found him. There was rumors that the stepmother's brother had been called quite early, had went missing for 5 or 6 hours. Nobody knew where he was, and that he might have been involved in this somehow. It's all alleged, and there's a private investigator that has a whole theory around what might potentially have happened. In 2009, 2010, some of the people that worked on the case within the state police department also came forward and said that they felt like the case should be reopened. The state of New Hampshire has refuted that and said that their findings are final unless there's like new evidence that can be located. The FBI has spoken with the Step family, and I think the stepmother and the stepbrother both took lie detector tests. The stepbrother supposedly passed. The stepmother was inconclusive. So it's a messy story here, and I could go either way on this one, but I do look at this whole situation with the idea of a 10-year-old that's supposedly a meek type of kid hiking up 1,200 feet and getting into that thick of a brush area. It does seem a little unlikely to me.
And just to recap, it was ruled that he was hypothermic, and that's what had killed him?
Yeah.
He was over 2 miles from the condo, and the one of the kids had said the story was they had decided to race back from the playground, and they lost track of him because he got ahead or whatever. But then he was found 2 miles from the condo. He was not necessarily dirty. His hands were actually clean. He was missing his shoes, his jacket, his socks, I believe, and he had a Game Boy, which none of that has ever been recovered. When they had interviewed the mother, that when the dogs had showed up for scent, they were looking for something to scent off of. She had just done all the laundry, all the sheets, absolutely everything. So the dog wasn't able to, there was nothing local there where they could pick up a scent. The uncle, her brother, had come up to help. He ran into somebody who had car trouble and wound up delayed 4 hours by helping to give them a ride, which struck me as odd. That's, again, this is what I had read. I'm not saying this is all fact. And then he showed up and was kind of odd, to say the least. His part of the story is very odd to me. Why he was there, what he was doing, and then then the whole family just packed up, moved, and refused to talk about this.
Yeah, it's suspicious.
Right. And I will say the stepmother did go on, view from the top, they had a number of threads, and the stepmother did go on to comment a couple of times about, so her explanation on the laundry was that, it's 3 boys. It was the end of the weekend. She wanted to make sure she got the laundry done before they got home, so they didn't have to deal with it at night. She had started the laundry before they went missing, according to her. So take that for what it is. But having nothing with a scent on it is pretty surprising. Like, can't you even, I don't know if a dog could take a toothbrush or something, who knows? But it's a little bit wet. And then she did speak to the press in 2009. It had come out later on that the older son had posted some really threatening things about his younger brother, around wanting to kill his younger brother and wish that he was dead. And FBI had flagged that as hey, this is a little odd that this guy would have said this. So there's some weirdness with this family for sure, but who knows? So, but it was interesting to get the lay of the land up there and think about it. It was a huge case, and
the case is officially closed as of 2009.
It is.
It was ruled hypothermia, and until other, it's considered closed.
Right. The only way this thing would open is if somebody started talking and offered new evidence, which who knows how likely that is. Probably not.
Or if they could find the clothes and there's some kind of evidence on the clothes.
True. So anyway, that is the story of Patrick McCarthy. I'll include links in the show notes so people can check out those articles on the Cape Cod newspaper.
Very sad story. Yeah, I couldn't imagine having a kid lost in the woods like that and not knowing exactly what happened. But
exactly. All right, so just to close the show out here, we're going to skip the notable hikers because Dave was going to win this anyway. But Nick, why don't we do our highlights of the year, and you can start with this and talk about like what stood out for you seasonally, like some of the great hikes you went on, and recommendations that you would make for the listeners for what to hike next year.
Yeah, so I'll try to run through. I had a hard time narrowing it down, but I tried to do my best. For sure, winter I was busy because I was trying to finish the Winter 48 going into this year. But ones that stood out to me, I hiked on an absolute frigid day on Carter Dome. That was January 4th. I think that was the coldest day I've ever hiked on. I think the high temps were like around -10 or something like that, and wind chills -30s. Kind of real deal. I'd never hiked that cold by myself solo. It was generally okay throughout the day, but just couldn't stop moving. Kind of learned it took some of the fun out of it for sure. That was an interesting day. The next, and I would highly recommend this to anybody, is doing kind of an off-season overnight, but the Zealand Hut overnight, kind of with the extended slasher sort of crew. Jake, Peter, you, Mike. Who else do we had? We had
Dave.
Tom. Not Dave. Dave was not there. Steve.
I was waiting by my phone for the invitation.
Dave's
that night.
He's not in that text group, so sorry, Dave.
Dave's not here, man. Yeah, because no one invited him.
But we had a fun time. Hopefully we'll have to have Dave join in the future, and we'll all get out together. But
Wink. Don't invite him.
Wink, wink. You're on some text chains.
Yeah,
I've seen them. I'm seeing
we need a car spot.
Oh, Dave.
It's all good.
But that was a fun overnight, and as part of that, we did hiked up to Z Cliff. Jake and I went to Zealand because I needed it for my Winter 48, and on the way back, we got like a crazy alpenglow sunset. Kind of going back to Z Cliff, that was like super memorable. That seems like a wonderful, even though you're not facing sunset, a wonderful spot to check out a sunset in the winter just because of that sort of glow you get. Kind of next up, super cold day on isolation. That was with Mike, Paul, Deanna. Steve was there as well, and Steve let me know when we were in the parking lot that he didn't need it for his grid or anything. He was just doing it because he's a nice guy. That was a super cold day, first day of February. Another fun with that one is that we all had like the ride from hell basically coming up the night before or that morning. It like just dumped snow. I think me and Mike were kind of driving on 16 that morning, and it was pretty awful to say the least. Probably more stressful than the hike. Super fun day. I got out with Ash, February 22nd, Street 9, the Adirondacks. People don't talk about these peaks too much out in the Adirondacks, but they have great views out to Algonquin and stuff. We had a lot of fun. Crap ton of snow, just like in the Whites. I think there was 7 or 8 foot of snowpack in spots up high. It's kind of ridiculous. And then last highlight, and I know Mike had this too, but finishing my Winter 48 on the bonds out and back on like just a crazy day with conditions. I got stuck in a spruce trap up to my eyeballs. Kind of something I never experienced before. Scared the shit out of me, to be frank, when it happened. And I knew I was supposed to remain calm, but when you fall that deep in the snow, it's hard to remain calm. I think I'd be more calm if it happened again, but was thankful that I had other people and other strong hikers with me that day. 100% would not have made it to the bonds out and back. A piece of advice for people is if you're doing the bonds in the winter, you should not, number one, you shouldn't be out there alone. Number two, you likely will need other people to help you get there, because I'm a fairly strong hiker and there's no way I could have made it out there safely back. If I had made it to Westbound and back, I would have been running on fumes and probably dangerously cold by the time I got back to my car if I'd done that solo. So I'm very appreciative of everybody that kind of helped and tagged along that day. Moving on into spring, kind of got introduced to the Belknaps this year. I don't know if it was Peter or Jake's idea. I think, Mike, you had been in the Belknaps a little bit. Yeah. Dave, I don't know too. Have you been over the Belknaps much? Or okay. But okay. But it really nice range outside of Winnipesaukee. I think people don't really think of it too much when they think of hiking in New Hampshire. At least my brain kind of always goes to the Whites. But south of the Whites, you have some really nice peaks like Gunstock and Major and stuff that have really nice views. We kind of did a couple days over there. I ended up going back with Peter, kind of did the Major side after we had done sort of a Gunstock loop earlier in the spring, and finished actually with an umbrella doing Mount Row. Was it Mount Row I needed? I think I finished on Row and kind of knocked those out. So that was kind of fun in the spring to just something different. One of my nicest spring hikes was actually in the Adirondacks with my buddies Mike C. and Wilkie. We did Hurricane Mountain, which has a fire tower on it. It has stunning views of the sort of the Adirondacks in the area. Probably the coolest thing was this is one of those days where it really just, the fog cleared it was completely socked in, cleared as soon as we were on the fire tower. It started to open up. We could see Lake Champlain and sort of start to see some of the high peaks, and the cloud ceiling kind of just rose up, and it was kind of magical. It's a nice day. And then last I had for a spring hike that I kind of really stuck on my mind was the day that we did Pine Mountain after the Slasher. I put Slasher, it was the Slasher 200th at the Mount Washington Auto Road race. We I think Jake and Peter were out in the area doing stuff, and a couple of us went up to Pine Mountain, crossed Heart Disease Hiker and Roger Manley hikes, and just great views out to sort of Pinkham Notch and kind of across to Madison. I hadn't been up to that viewpoint, even though I'd done Pine Mountain before I did it from the other side, so that was cool. So summer, I think Mike had this one too. The 48 Peaks Slasher team hike on Madison on June 21st on the solstice was a lot of fun. Just kind of a fun crew up there. And then the after party was kind of cool over at Tuckerman.
Yes.
This is one that I know we got some mutual ones over here, but I wanted to shout out that Peter tried to kill me and tried to kill several of us by redlining, finishing his redlining in the Kilkenny range on some of the hottest, most humid weather that I think we had all year. I've been joking with people that I picked one of the worst winter days to probably finish the bonds as far as snowpack, and he picked one of the hottest days to finish his redlining. That was a fun day. Ended up actually taking Steve home with me after he had enough, and dropped him off back at his car. But I joined and hiked in on a loop of horn bulge and Cabot and actually took video that day. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the worst part of that, matter of fact, probably the worst experience hiking this whole year for me was at the water, the spur trail to get to the Cabot water source that you need for redlining. What a nightmare.
Yeah. I realize why people, like, I've seen that talked about by people before, but yeah, like, is just descends 300 feet straight down from basically the top of Cabot, and it's not really a trail. It's just a bunch of overgrown trees. There is a spring down there though that was flowing, so that was nice. And these are two big things that I would shout out is try these if you think you can do them. They're not as hard as you probably think they are, but they're challenging. But I did, and this was cool too, to just sort of reunite with some family and some cousins that I'd been really close to growing up, but kind of got a little bit more distant, and we're back hiking again. So it's awesome. But my cousin Sarah Beth and her husband Jay, we did a single day Prezi. They had wanted to try one back in July. It was my second single day that I had done. We had wildfire haze, but it was a fantastic day. They enjoyed it. I think doing it the second time, I was a little bit more confident and kind of enjoying it and not as nervous. Took a ridiculous amount of pictures. A couple weeks later in August, tugged Jay into doing a single day Pemi loop after I wanted to try one for a while. That was, I think, it is my biggest hike, really, single day hike to date. And it was a challenge. It was a beast of a hike. I think I would do it again 100%, but would pick cooler weather. I would suggest if you're going to do that, don't do it if it's going to be like even 80 degrees in Lincoln. I think it's just too hot. We were dying on some of the Garfield Ridge Trail, frankly, and there wasn't a lot of water this year in spots. We didn't have issue with it, but we were kind of lucky to just about get water at Garfield Spring. I don't even know how much that would have been flowing a couple weeks later, but just a ridiculously awesome day. Like I can't recommend it enough. If you want to try it, try to go for it. Do it safely and stuff, but just go for it. And thank you to everybody, like Stomp included, and some of our friends who were like, just go for it and try to do it, and kind of gave me the confidence to try for it, because I think I get it in my head, frankly, with that stuff sometimes. Later on, kind of winding down the end of the summer, did a bushwhack to Hawthorne Falls. I feel like my accent came out there, but Hawthorne Falls with Peter Jake. Wicked good, but a wicked good trip to Hawthorne Falls with Peter, Jake, and Paul G. And Peter and Jake did an awesome job sort of leading this. You follow the drainage up. We were lucky with the low water levels. I think it made it easy to hike in the riverbed, albeit quite slippery in spots. I think it's kind of amazing that nobody fell thinking back in that slippery riverbed. But Hawthorne Falls is super cool. We'll do a So You Want on that eventually, and some of the history of that trail. Kind of interesting. And we did East and West Garfield. West Garfield, actually kind of a bushwhack off the trail. East Garfield is basically a spur path with an awesome view that I think a lot of people probably just walk past. Like I had literally weeks earlier on the Pemi Loop and not realized it was there. And then kind of last, I'd say special hike. I did Wildcat D with my daughter Rylan on my back. We went up the ski trails kind of around like a little birthday getaway trip. And she did like 1,000 feet on her own. In and out of the pack. She rode on the way down. Just a special, it was kind of weird. It was like two worlds clashed having her up there with me on the summit platform, it was kind of an interesting feeling, and hopefully get her up many more of them and on her own 2 feet eventually. And then rounded out summer doing the Dix Range with our buddy Steve from the Cape. He kind of has done a lot of the Adirondack Peaks. He's working on his 115. And we had a great day doing the Dix Range minus Dix. Very hot. I forget what Steve coined them. He had a funnier term, but there were flies on Grace Peak that we called like the flies from hell, because they just were biting the crap out of us. They were tiny. You couldn't even see them, and they were just taking chunks of flesh off us. So that was fun. And then rounding out in the fall, this was the last hike I was on with you, Mike, but back-to-back days in Prezzies to kind of round out before I was at home with the new kid coming. But we did a Jefferson, Washington loop with sort of the crew. Had an amazing day. It ended up being peak foliage. I know the observatory said after. That was in late September. And then the next day I did up King Ravine for the first time, did trail maintenance, and then looped down sort of by Knight's Castle and all those RMC trails, and it just had a gorgeous day. And then I talked about this way too much already, but I did Diamond Hill a bunch of times at Cumberland for Tay's Summit Challenge, and was finally checking out the Blue Hills. Probably pretty done with them. I'm still going to hit them when I need to stay close to home. They're a good, fun place to check out. But after going back to the Whites again, I was like, man, I missed the Whites because it was almost 2 months and I hadn't been up, which is probably a long time for me. So it was good to get back. So that was fun to get back for the full conditions event. We did Garfield and we did Agassi, and that kind of blew me away. And then this past weekend had a really fun hike doing a sunrise on Kearsarge, and then we did Cannon this past weekend. So that was fun with Peter and Jake. Had a great day. Got sort of a birthday outing, and it was cold up there. I'm sure. I know Saturday was super cold when you guys were out as well, but Friday it was like -3, I think, in the morning on Kearsarge, and I think Franconia Notch was only like 11 when we left in the afternoon after doing Cannon.
Yeah, you got some amazing photos on Kearsarge. I saw you post those. Those were like probably some of the best photos you got all year, I think.
Yeah, I got to check out some more sunrises. It's funny, I was talking with Peter and Jake about like what's next. Like, I mean, obviously there's the grid and red line, but I think a lot of what I'd like to try to do more of is get sunrises and sunsets and stuff. Yeah. But logistically, I think we all learned with sunrises, you really need to time it when it's like -3, because we all had all our clothing on, and it was still just like, it was almost unbearably cold up there. You're used to moving and stopping for 5 minutes, not stopping for half an hour up there in like -3 temps with a wind chill and being like, okay, let's just do this. But it's been a fun year. So hopefully, if anybody,
it's a lot of great hikes.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't too long. I tried to narrow it down, but those are the ones that stuck out to me.
The one that confused me was, what is a Dix minus Dix? What does that equal?
No dick.
So
Dix.
So the Dix Range in the Adirondacks.
Yes.
Yeah, Dixless. Okay. We had so many jokes that day, as you do when you do the Dix Range. But that's commonly, it's like 4 or 5 different peaks in the Adirondacks. You usually do that whole range. There's like Grace, South Dix, Macomb, Huff. There's another peak that doesn't count on anything called the Beckhorn. That's really cool. But you typically do them in like one day, and we kind of were both. I didn't need Dix, and we were both kind of burned out. It's still like, yeah. From any kind of like direction, it's like a 15-mile, 5,000-ish foot day probably to do the whole range. So it's a lot of just like, you get like 2,000 feet up, and then it's like 500 feet at least down and up between every peak. So
it's aptly named.
Yeah. And the Macomb slide going up in the Dix Range too was cool. I haven't done as many slides as like even some of you bushwhacking guys have done. It was kind of fun. Steve said it was kind of akin to like the South Tri Slide or one of those kind of ballparks. So it's been a fun year. Gotten fortunate and lucky to be able to get out and do a lot of fun stuff. So what about you guys?
So I've got a couple of things. So I think I won't get into the details of specific hikes, but I think like I've become a little bit more of a bushwhacker. So I think that Stomp and Dave brought me out to do this bushwhack on Middle Sugarloaf, sort of taught me the lay of the land on how to look for old logging skid roads and
that's where you came up with the term. Like, you came up with your term skid marks. We follow the skid marks.
Yeah. We follow the skid marks.
I don't think so.
So, and I did South Hale. That was another interesting bushwhack. And then, we just did Whaleback. So I feel like my resume with bushwhacking has definitely expanded in 2025, which has been 2025, which has been great. And it's interesting to see it through the eyes of God, Dave, like your eyes, where the way you look at things is just completely different than the way I look at things with a trail system. So it's been fun to do that. I think that the trail maintenance stuff, I really enjoyed that this year. So I went out to the Bald Faces 3 times. I did a scouting trip and I did 2 maintenance trips. So I think that that's been really cool. I'd say as far as like the best overnight stuff that I did the Kilkenny Ridge Traverse with the guys. Nick, you joined that for a day. That was fun. I'd say like sort of the memorable fun hikes that I did with friends would be like the Owl's Head hike for Paul and Deanna. Even though I broke my finger horrifically, it was still a fun hike, and we had hot dogs and beer and burgers afterwards.
I didn't even think of that remotely when you were when you wrote that in their list. I think fun quick aside with that is that's the day that we did the single day Prezi with Sarah Beth and Jay. And I got back to my car and I didn't have my phone on, and I got back to the house and I'm just seeing all these texts like, what happened? Oh, I need stitches. I'm like, what did I miss today?
Right. So, and then I'd say the Jefferson, Washington hike with Caroline and JT and you and Steve and the whole crew. That was a pretty epic, fun day. I always get the Lord of the Rings vibe going across Jefferson and Clay and up to Washington. So that's fun. And then I'd say miserable hikes. I'd say Liberty in the rain with you and Steve.
Was that the one that we did?
Yeah. Then the Engine Hill Bushwhack, just getting through that was brutal in isolation. I will say that the epiphany I had this year was that hiking with an umbrella is like, and again, it doesn't work for bushwhacking that well, but like an umbrella is new to my toolkit, where I bring that wherever I'm going if I know it's going to rain. So, and then the old favorite for me, I did Burnt Meadow, I think like 4 times this year over by Brownfield. So, hiking in Hawaii too. I always like to get out to some place that's not in the Northeast. So I did a fair bit of hiking in Hawaii, which was fun. So, overall a good year. I learned how to bushwhack. I learned to use an umbrella when it's raining, and then I've learned how to do trail maintenance. So good stuff. In 2026, I'm looking forward to. I'm going to do more trail maintenance, and I'm talking to my friend Tom about maybe the Tetons, maybe the Grand Canyon. We're scheming. So we'll get out of New England again, but I'll be sticking to the whites for this winter after I get back from Florida.
I did have to mention there were 2 like conversations with you this year that stuck out in my mind. I wish I could remember one of the quotes, but one was being on isolation in that day in February, and you were asking me how cold you thought it was, and I was like, I think we need to get the F down right now. Yeah. That's how cold it is. The second one is you had some sort of catchy line. I forget what it was about, because we were going to do Liberty and Flume that day with me, you and Steve, and we were like super like, it's funny you get 3 hikers together with like a goal to do like Liberty and Flume. I think we wanted to do. And we were like, oh, it's definitely like the rain will definitely slow down or whatever. And it's like, you're like, oh, it's not going to move in for a while. And like, it's like actively raining, but you're like looking at your radar being like, but guys, it says it's not going to rain. It's not raining right now. And you had some sort of line about like, we were like, we could go to Flume and that won't be too long. And you're like, yeah, but it doesn't take that long to get hypothermia or something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's accurate. We probably should just go down.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of any of those like I don't like the Kinsmans for that. I don't like Field to Willie. I don't like any of those sort of out and backs where you've got to do a coal and you go down and then you go back up and then you got to go down and back up. Like I always try to avoid. It would have been awful. So
yeah, it would have been awful that day. There's no way.
So, but yeah, it was a fruitful year, Dave. Any highlights or thoughts that you
what
have?
About Mr. Shits?
I had a handful of stuff, I want to go through every single hike and every peak. We have time, right? We're good?
No, we have 5 minutes before we hit 230
I can see you looking up at the clock like, you better be fast.
No, I took up a ton of time. That's fine.
It's all good.
It's the last episode of the year.
I got a handful of stuff that just, a lot of the stuff I did this year was just kind of off the grid kind of stuff, which is always fun. I did the Go Back Savages in peak foliage where I ran into a bull moose that I was kind of heckling, not thinking that it was actually there, and there he was. That was an adrenaline rush. The Wantastiquit Monadnock trip was great. It was also a highlight and a low light for me. It was a new trail, but it also destroyed my feet, and I learned quite a bit about like how I need to better prepare for longer backpacking trips. So it was pretty humbling, which was awesome. You learn. Mm-hmm. And Monadnock in general, that is one of my favorite places to go. We went up and did the cave this winter. It's tough, but it's fun. And just in general, I went back a couple times over the winter and then at different seasons. It's a great mountain. It's a great place to go. Couple trips up the Grand Traverse, did sections of it, and then did the whole thing. That's always if you get a chance to get up there, it is worth the trip. Doing the Traverse, get a car spot. The weekend in Maine, we spent with Izzy and Liz. Oh, so good. We did the Brothers in Katahdin for the Alzheimer's hike. Beautiful weather on the second day. The first day was rugged. It was cold and windy and rainy. The views on Katahdin are unmatched, just stunning. You also, in my opinion, you got to get Izzy on here sometime, talk about her patch list. She has a Mountains for Meals list you can check out on Where's Izzy, her blog. But it's a Mountains for Meals patch. You can read all. I won't go into the details, but it's a really cool program that she's doing. You hike and make a donation to food banks, and there's a patch, certain mountains you hike. It's really good. She can explain it better. The Doublehead Dinsmore is over in Sandwich. They have a waterfall that's down there. They have the missing cow, the cow cave, they call it, where the cow disappeared, but there's a waterfall. And in the right seasons, in the right winters, this winter will probably do it, the waterfall actually freezes and you can go behind it. You kind of crawl in and you can actually see behind the waterfall. And that was sick. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it was definitely, you got to be careful, obviously, but you can slide a good length of the ways in and take pictures behind it. And it was first time I've done that. A bunch of trips out to logging camps and plane crashes, which always intrigue me, mostly near Sunapee and then out in the Pemi. Really cool stuff. A lot of stuff that I didn't take, just to be clear. I looked. I'm not Mike. But there's cool artifacts, a lot of glass bottles and there's a brick with my last name on it out there, oddly enough. But anyhow, true story. Let's see. Nobby's old man bachelor party. That was lights out for me. That was a great trip out to Three Ponds. That was an actual blast. I could go on and on.
Did you guys, was the captain's overnight, was that this year or was that last year?
That was 2024.
It was.
That was an epic hike too. Yeah, no, so it didn't make the cutoff. That was September of 24.
Okay.
But that was an incredible trip too. Finished the 100, hung out for a night. That was with the bike carrier that we also reused for that.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, and I would say 2025 too, I feel like solidified, like, and I joke about like Dave's not really in the inner circle with the main hiking group now, but we'll pull him in. But I do feel like our little friend groups have solidified and even expanded quite a bit. And I'm looking forward to, I got a chance to hike with some new people like 2 weekends ago, and I'm looking forward to hiking with some new people in the future. And I guess I can say, Dave, you probably can't say this, but I guess I can say that I was a solo hiker for a long time. I no longer am. I very rarely do I ever get out solo anymore.
Yeah, and there's pros and cons to both sides of it. And like what I was going to say is every trip for me, to get hallmarky a little bit, it's completely different. Even if it's the same mountain and a different time of year, it's just, you can have such a different experience every time. And whether you're out solo or with people, getting out changes everything. Like, it's just perspective. It resets you. It's all those good things. And there's so much in New Hampshire, New England in general to see. And that's why I extend thank you to you and Stomp for launching this, Nick jumping in and continuing it. It's really, to me, changed hiking in general. To the one or two people I might have hiked with, there's a whole group of people now that like you kind of cross paths with. And even if you're not hiking with them, when you run into them, it's just kind of cool to chat them up and be like, oh yeah, I follow them, or I've seen what they do. And then being out with groups, it's just a really cool thing. And the podcast really has made all that happen. So thank you to all of you guys that do that, and the people that you have in your corner supporting you at home to allow it all to happen.
100%.
So, huge thanks.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, if you didn't have that reset, Dave, you would probably be serial killing people. So it's nice to know that you have that.
I don't know about serial. It'd just be random. I mean, I think, I could potentially be robbing banks the same day and stuff. But
calculated.
Yeah, right. I'm not that smart.
Kind of harp on what you were saying, Mike, too, though. It's like, I feel like maybe too, I've gotten more like I did a lot of solo winter hiking for sure for last year. And it was cool to be like heading out. And I'm like, oh, like there's people I know that will go hiking and stuff and kind of get into that. And I'm always down to hike with new people. Like, shout out to Jay, my cousin Sarah Beth Jay, not your Jay, Mike. I'm glad we really, I think, bonded on trail. And again, with my cousin, it was cool to reconnect and to do that over kind of doing a Pemi loop, and I failed to mention that when I did that single day Pemi loop, my cousin Sarah Beth hiked out with Peter, and actually hiked out to the Bonds in Meadows. Peter had to bail a little bit early because we were slower than we thought, but it was super special, like doing the traverse with them and doing that with some family and like getting out there together. It was really awesome, and I'm kind of thankful to have met a lot of people through doing this podcast and kind of the whole crew too. And shout out to like you guys, like Mike and stuff, and all you guys for being open with information that you guys have from more experience than I've got out there, and also like being accepting of like taking, like you took me on your first trek out to Owl's Head, Mike, and I busted my forehead open with some micro spikes, and you still took me out again. So
does everybody
I'm
bleed on
thankful.
Owl's Head?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's we're going to call it bloody head.
Yeah. But
Anyway, but yeah, so thank you so much. 2025 has been a great year. When you look back at it, we've done a lot of hiking here. We've done a lot of talking, a lot of listens. So we appreciate it. Thank you to everybody. Just a couple of show notes to close out, just as a heads up. So this is the last episode of the year, episode 218. We're going to take a month off. So I think that if I look at the calendar here, I'm looking at Nick's calendar. We will be back with a So You Wanna on maybe January 9th, maybe January 16th. I can't remember the dates we agreed to. And then we'll be back with an episode in like late July. And, we'll probably just come back with a
July
episode.
Late
January.
I feel the ratings just flatlined.
Late January. Sorry about that. And then we'll have a whole slate of great guests on. We'll figure it out. I don't know who we got lined up, but we're always scheming. So if you have any guest ideas, feel free to reach out over the Instagram account. And otherwise, enjoy your Christmas and your New Year's and all that winter hiking. Stay safe out there, and don't steal any of those Mike spikes if you run into them.
That's right. Orders today. Supplies are limited.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to learn more about the topics covered in today's show, please check out the show notes and safety information at SLASRPodcast.com. That's SLASR podcast.com. You can also follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. We hope you'll join us next week for another great show. Until then, on behalf of Mike and Stomp, get out there and crush some mega peaks.
Now covered in scratches, blisters, and bug bites, Chris Staff wanted to complete his most challenging day hike ever.
Fish and Game officers say the hiker from Florida activated an emergency beacon yesterday morning. He was hiking along the Appalachian Trail when the weather started to get worse. Officials say the snow was piled up to 3 feet in some spots, and there was a wind chill of -1 degree.
And there's 3 words to describe this race. Do we all know what they are?
Here's Lieutenant James Neeland, New Hampshire Fish and Game. Lieutenant, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
What are some of the most common mistakes you see people make when they're heading out on the trails to hike here in New Hampshire?
It seems to me the most common is being unprepared, and I think if they just simply visited hikesafe.com and got a list of the 10 essential items and had those in their packs, they probably would have no need to ever call us at all.